My House of Horrors Chapter 1041 to 1060. The children's cries came from all directions, and it was impossible to pinpoint the source. Brother Peng, don't you think the crying sounds familiar? Chen Ge had ghost ear. He held his breath and listened quietly. After a while, he made a shocking discovery. Among the children's cries, one of them sounded very similar to Wu Sheng's. Wasn't the child hiding inside the small room? Chen Ge could not figure it out. He turned to Wu Jinping. The large man's body was shaking. He had been pushed to his limit by the monsters. Be it physically or mentally, he could not take it anymore. His chest rose and fell, and he gasped for air. Wu Jinping leaned against the hospital wall. His eyes were bloodshot and swollen. Are you okay? Earlier, when they were running for their lives, Chen Ge did not realize that he had subconsciously transferred his own physical attributes into Wu Jinping's body. In reality, not everyone was like Wu Jinping, who had a physique that was comparable to that of an athlete. Come on, let's go to the back door. Wu Jinping did not dare stay any longer. After entering the hospital, he behaved strangely. Something seemed to have happened the last time he was here, and it had traumatized him. If not for the fact that he was cornered, he would not have chosen to enter the hospital again. The children's cries grew louder, and the one that sounded like Wu Sheng was drowned out by the noise. Chen Ge paid attention and followed behind Wu Jinping silently. Even though the hospital at the old city was small, it had all kinds of departments. From the outside, it looked normal. It was a normal hospital at night, and there was nothing scary about it. Passing through the empty corridor, Wu Jinping led Chen Ge to the junction of the stairs. By then, the children's cries had reached an ear-piercing level. Can you see the window at the corner of the stairs? Jump out from there and you'll reach Western Street. We can temporarily shake off those monsters. Wu Jinping did not move after saying that. His eyes were filled with fear. This made Chen Ge realize that things might not be that simple. Brother, be careful. When you go up the stairs, no matter what you hear or see, do not stop. Just rush through it. Understand? Wu Jinping reminded Chen Ge. If you think the backpack is too heavy, I can help you carry it first. After you go up the stairs, you must rush to the window as fast as you can. I understand. I've been a fast runner since I was a child. Wu Jinping and Chen Ge stood side by side at the top of the stairs. Both of them were ready. After looking at each other, they moved at the same time and ran toward the door. The sound of footsteps echoed in the corridor. When he took the first step, Chen Ge did not feel anything, but as he continued to run forward, the sound of the child's cries rushed into his ears like a wave. His brain was filled with the child's cries, and he even felt dizzy. Don't stop. Wu Jinping had obviously experienced this once before. This brother of his did not forget to care about Chen Ge at the critical moment and reminded him loudly. The child's cries became louder and louder, and the stairs under his feet became softer like they were not stepping on concrete stairs. Chen Ge lowered his head to look, and pairs of small hands reached out from the ground to grab at his legs. The originally empty corridor was now crawling with faceless babies. Even though Chen Ge had seen many things, he hesitated for a moment. He instinctively avoided the babies and stepped on the empty space on the stairs. The sound of the door opening came from the second floor. When Chen Ge looked up, a wave of blood rushed out from the second floor corridor and slammed into Chen Ge and Wu Jinping. Jump out the window. Don't stop. Chen Ge was the first to rush to the window. When he opened the window, the wave of blood had already rushed over. At that moment, he could have chosen to jump out of the window, but if he had done that, Wu Jinping would have been washed away by the wave of blood. Grab my hand. When Chen Ge said that, the wave of blood had already rushed over, and it instantly swallowed him and Wu Jinping. The smell of blood rushed into his nostrils, and he could not breathe. Pain came from all over his body. Chen Ge forced his eyes open, and at the last moment, Wu Jinping grabbed Chen Ge's backpack. The blood seemed to pour out endlessly from the second floor. Other than the crying of the child, a second voice started to appear. It was a woman's whisper, and it came closer and closer. You run first. Leave me be. Wu Jinping could not even stand properly from the wave of blood. He probably knew that he was not going to make it this time. There's still a chance. Think about your son. When Chen Ge turned around to say that, a woman wearing a red hairpin appeared at the end of the second floor. She was wearing a maternity outfit that did not fit her body, and her featureless face was facing Chen Ge and Wu Jinping. The woman's whisper became clearer. It was like a curse that could not be shaken off, but it was also like a poisonous snake that crawled into the deepest part of their minds. Jinpeng, do you still recognize me? Have I been a bad mother? Do you hate me? The child did not even know how to cry when he was born, but is that my fault? If he was a normal child, I would not have done something like this, but you heard what the doctor said. The child's condition is very unique, and we do not have the ability to raise him. If he grows up with us, he will only turn into a monster that everyone hates. If he was a normal child, I would really bring him up with you. But he is not a normal child. I cannot hold on anymore. My life has just begun, and I do not want to be tied to him like this. Wu Jinpeng, can you come with me? Let's escape together. Quote. Don't think I'm being selfish. We've been through so much already, and I do not want to continue like this. Even if he grows up in the future, do you really think he will be happy? Do you want him to become like your little brother? You have to understand that one day, you will also grow old, and who will take care of your little brother? Who will take care of this child? Quote. Instead of leaving together that day, why don't we live for once? In my heart, you are the free and unrestrained bird. Come with me. The woman's blank face slowly changed. She stepped on the blood and appeared before Wu Jinpeng. The pale hand slowly rose from the blood to hold Wu Jinpeng's face. Happiness, joy, desire, freedom, everything that you seek is here. Why don't you reach out for it? The woman leaned lightly against Wu Jinpeng's side, allowing Wu Jinpeng's head to lean against her. I have never asked you to promise me anything. This is the first time, so let's go together. Wu Jinpeng looked at the woman's face, and the faceless face became more and more blurry. His bloodshot eyes slowly lost their light, and his tired body stopped struggling like he had turned the woman into a safe harbor. The fingers that gripped Chen Ge's backpack slowly loosened. Wu Jinpeng's body was slowly swallowed by the blood. Just as Chen Ge thought that Wu Jinpeng was about to give up, this father, who was almost 2 meters tall in Wu Sheng's eyes, suddenly reached out to grab the faceless woman's arm. Bring Wu Sheng with us. Run. Quote. Wu Jinpeng did not care about the blood that flowed into his mouth. He screamed like he was going to tear his throat apart. Realizing that Wu Jinpeng was not affected, the faceless woman was enraged. Black veins popped on her pale arms, and her hands clamped around Wu Jinpeng's neck. Why? Why do you still want to protect him? I've given you everything that was good. Why do you still choose despair? Facial features slowly appeared on the woman's face. It was not a woman's face but the face of a baby boy. Ghost fetus. Why can't I kill you? Only I am the one who truly wants to help you. Why do you all have to lie to yourselves? Why do you all have to believe in something that doesn't exist? The woman squeezed Wu Jinpeng's neck until it was deformed, but she could not kill Wu Jinpeng. Wu Jinpeng, who was still breathing, kept waving his arms at Chen Ge. He could not make any sound, but he tried his best to open his mouth, trying to tell the world what he wanted to say. The woman's face had turned into that of a baby's. Her mouth was open, but her eyes were closed like she needed a long time to open them. Her clothes were dyed red by blood. This monster was obviously much more powerful than the snail behind Zhang Ming's door. Wu Sheng was born with a physical defect. He was abandoned by his own mother, and that was the thing that haunted Wu Sheng the most. The ghost fetus used that to spread his malice. He wanted to trap this child in the abyss behind the door. Chen Ge had understood everything. The ghost fetus kept trying to lure him, but unfortunately, Wu Sheng had a very good father. No matter what happened, the father would protect Wu Sheng, to let him know that the world was not as hopeless as the ghost fetus made it out to be. The ghost fetus couldn't kill Wu Sheng's father, which means that the ghost fetus couldn't change the image of Wu Jinpeng in Wu Sheng's heart. Chen Ge did not escape. He looked at the woman who was in a frenzy. I didn't expect a demon god would be forced into this state by a normal father. After understanding everything, Chen Ge also understood the knot in Wu Sheng's heart. The key was that he had found the ghost that the ghost fetus was attached to. There is no need for this world behind the door to continue to exist. Killing this woman will further weaken the ghost fetus. Power. Chen Ge pressed the play button on the recorder and retreated. Compared to the snail, this woman is scarier, and Wu Sheng's world behind the door is more stable than Zhang Ming's. Looks like the 9 doors are quite different from each other. Standing properly in the blood, Chen Ge took out the comic. The cries of the child and the whispers of the woman gradually weakened, replaced by ear-piercing screams and hysterical screams. Lines of blood spread out like cracks that split the world apart. The woman standing in the middle of the pool of blood also noticed Chen Ge. She put down Wu Jinpeng, whose body was deformed but could not die no matter how hard she tried, and turned to walk towards Chen Ge. The body of an adult woman, but the face of a baby. The scene in front of him was horrifying, but Chen Ge wasn't too afraid. As the red specters appeared one after another, the woman stopped. "Brother Peng, wake up. This place is about to be destroyed. The sun is about to rise." Quote. Shu Yin, ol, Bai, and foul odor, who appeared first, lunged forward. The woman was fighting 1 against 3, but she was not at a disadvantage at all. To Chen Ge's surprise, the woman's control over the blood had reached an unbelievable level. She seemed to be able to do 9 things at once. Let's go. More and more red specters appeared. After the red high heels joined the battle, the woman in the red specter finally could not hold on any longer. She kept cursing, but she was unable to change the situation. The blood was divided, and the baby boy's eyes finally opened a slit. "I will kill you. No matter who you are, I will kill you." Quote. With the cooperation of several red specters, the woman finally dissolved into a mist of blood. The blood disappeared, and only a child's tooth covered in black blood remained on the ground. Killing is illegal. To prevent you from walking down the wrong path, I have to keep coming here to stop you. Chen Ge walked to the tooth and realized there was something carved on it. Is this my tooth? He was about to reach out to pick it up when the tooth that was corroded by the black blood suddenly disappeared into his shadow. His hand stopped in midair. Chen Ge did not react immediately. Zhang Ya. The world behind Wu Sheng's door was about to be destroyed, so Chen Ge did not dare stay for too long. He grabbed the backpack, carried Wu Jinpeng, and ran toward the small house that Wu Sheng was hiding in. "Brother, put me down. I've been reminded of many things. Let's leave this place first." They rushed to the small house, and Chen Ge and Wu Jinpeng entered the house. Wu Jinpeng straightened his clothes and opened the lid of the wooden box. Wu Sheng was still sitting inside with his hand over his mouth. "The game is over. You don't need to be afraid that your voice will attract bad people or monsters anymore. In the future, you can say whatever you want. You need to let the world hear your voice." He carried Wu Sheng out from the wooden box. "We're going to move today." With the escort of several red specters, the group reached the end of the western street. The sealed black iron door had many cracks on it. "It's time for us to go." Chen Ge glanced at Wu Jinpeng. The large and muscular man put Wu Sheng down and then squatted down to hug Wu Sheng. "The proudest thing in my life is having a son like you. Go, you don't belong here." Quote. The broken iron door was pushed open. Wu Jinpeng pushed Wu Sheng lightly toward Chen Ge. As the world behind the door continued to crumble, Wu Jinpeng's figure slowly disappeared. Putting away the red specters, Chen Ge dragged Wu Sheng out of the black iron door. Bang! His knees knocked into the bed, and Chen Ge, who was carrying the backpack, tripped and fell on the single bed. The illusory door behind him disappeared, and a familiar voice came from inside the dark room. "Brother, where did you come from?" Quote. The light was switched on, and the light that had not shone on them for a long time fell on them. Wu Jinpeng's mouth fell open as he looked at Chen Ge, who had fallen on the bed. Wu Sheng, who had been sleeping soundly, also opened his eyes. It was unclear whether it was because he was pressed down by Chen Ge or because he was reminded of something, but once he saw Wu Jinpeng, he started to cry. The voice was so loud that all the neighbors could hear it clearly. "Don't cry, don't cry. That uncle didn't do it on purpose." Wu Jinpeng was suddenly stunned. Wu Sheng's vocal cords were born with a problem. When he was born, he could not cry, and his face often turned purple. He did not expect that the child who could not cry since he was young, who the doctor said was abnormal, would cry that day, and he would cry so loudly. You should go and give him a hug. The child has seen too many things, and the bad things have been suppressed in his heart. Chen Ge hugged his knees and sat in the corner. He did not want to disturb Wu Jinpeng and Wu Sheng. Wu Sheng sat next to Wu Jinpeng and kept crying. It felt like he was trying to release all the tears that had been accumulated in his heart over the years. His small hands gripped Wu Jinpeng's shirt, and his face was filled with sadness. He wanted to say something, but when the words came out of his mouth, they turned into sobs. Did you have a nightmare? It's okay, I'm here to accompany you. Wu Jinpeng hugged Wu Sheng and patted his back lightly. The father and son leaned against each other, and Chen Ge sighed in relief. He rubbed his knees and slowly walked out. When he pulled back the curtain, the black phone in his pocket suddenly vibrated. Chen Ge took out the phone and clicked open the latest unread message. The 4-star trial mission, Ghost Fetus, has been completed tonight. The ghost fetus can no longer curse you through sound. Lucky red specters favored, you do not have much time left. Quote. Curse me through sound. Does that mean he can curse me just by hearing me speak? This power of the ghost fetus is a bit too scary. In Chen Ge's memory, curses required a medium. To curse a person, one had to get their hands on the person's hair, nails, or even clothes, but the black phone's information had upended Chen Ge's previous understanding. It turned out that the ghost fetus only needed to hear a voice to carry out the curse. This power was exposed by the black phone. The ghost fetus was able to become a demon god, so his power was not limited to this. Even with the protection of a red specter, Chen Ge did not feel safe. The enemy has too many tricks up their sleeves. I might get tricked without knowing it. No wonder the black phone said that after the ghost fetus is born, I will definitely die. The crying on the other side of the curtain woke up his younger brother. He hugged the broken fan and looked at Chen Ge with fear. Initially, Chen Ge did not mind it, but after being stared at for a long time, Chen Ge felt something was wrong. Why do you keep looking at me? Could it be that you saw something in me? Quote. Hearing Chen Ge's voice, Wu Jinpeng's younger brother grabbed the thin blanket to cover his head. He looked like he was about to cry from fear. Wu Kun was 8 years younger than Wu Jinpeng. Being treated like that by an adult in his 30s, Chen Ge felt quite uncomfortable. Are you afraid of me? Chen Ge walked towards Wu Kun. Before he could get close, Wu Kun stretched out his trembling hands. Fan, fan. Wu Kun held the broken fan with both hands and half kneeled on the ground. His body was trembling. You want to give me the fan? Chen Ge sat in front of Wu Kun. When he was about to pick up the fan, he saw Wu Kun's injured hand. Something doesn't feel right. Why does he keep talking about the fan? What was he trying to express? I did not see Wu Kun in the world behind Wu Sheng's door. As his father's younger brother, Wu Sheng must have some impression of him. Quote. Chen Ge returned the fan to Wu Kun. After a long time, Wu Kun slowly calmed down. What are you afraid of? Without waiting for Wu Kun's answer, 10 minutes later, the curtain was pulled back, and Wu Jinpeng turned off the lamp beside Wu Sheng's bed. Is Wu Sheng feeling better? The boy fell asleep after he got tired from crying. Wu Jinpeng's eyes were red and swollen. He stood before Chen Ge. Brother, my biggest wish in this life is for Wu Sheng to return to normal. I am prepared to take care of him for the rest of his life, thank you. Brother Peng, honestly, it's all because of you that Wu Sheng was able to recover. Chen Ge planned to hire Wu Jinpeng as his new employee, so he did not hide too much from him. You can choose not to believe what I'm going to say next, but do not tell anyone else. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Behind that door is a world of despair, blood, strangeness, and terror. After Wu Sheng fell asleep, he would dream that he was trapped inside that world, and he, a young boy, had to face all the ghosts alone. Chen Ge lowered his voice. To prevent himself from breaking down, he imagined a version of you in his dream. The you in the dream was like the you in real life, trying your best to protect him. It was because of your existence that he did not lose himself and have his soul consumed by the ghosts. Quote. That's quite a lot of information. Let me process it. After a moment's silence, Wu Jinpeng suddenly pinched himself hard. Doesn't this mean that if I had entered the door earlier, Wu Sheng would have suffered less? Not everyone can enter that door. A normal person might not be able to return after pushing open the door. When Chen Ge looked at Wu Jinpeng, his pupils narrowed. He was using yin-yang vision. Meeting Chen Ge's eyes, Wu Jinpeng felt chills run down his spine. He felt like Chen Ge's eyes did not belong to a living person's eyes. Are you afraid? A little. Wu Jinpeng nodded honestly. This handsome uncle sat obediently before Chen Ge like a child. Actually, I lied to you earlier. I told you that my relative had a child with the same symptoms as Wu Sheng. I used that to get close to you. Chen Ge put down the backpack and sighed. Actually, there is no such thing as a relative's child. The child with the same symptoms as Wu Sheng is me. You. Wu Jinpeng was in disbelief. But you look so normal. I was able to grow up like a normal child because I have parents who love me. They entered one of the doors for me. Chen Ge opened his mouth and slowly lowered his head. The only difference is, they still haven't come out from the door. I can't find them. That's why you're looking for the door. To see if your parents are behind it. Wu Jinpeng's eyes were red. He understood Chen Ge well. Brother, if you don't mind, let me help you in the future. One more person means one more power, and you're my and Wu Sheng's savior. I have to return the favor. Quote. There's no need. I came to help Wu Sheng out of selfishness. Actually, I just wanted to see if there were any traces of my parents behind the door. No matter what, you've saved Wu Sheng. Don't make me feel guilty. Wu Jinpeng was desperate. Fine, I can't argue with you. Chen Ge raised his head again. My real occupation is a haunted house owner. Have you heard of a haunted house? In many ways, it's a haunted house. Quote. When I was young, I liked to play. I've been there many times. Wu Jinpeng looked interested. Brother Peng, where do you work in the day? How much is your monthly salary? Quote. Including overtime, around 4,000, but the economy has been very bad recently, so we're laying off a lot of people. How about this? You come to work at my haunted house. I'll give you a base salary of 4,000, and there'll be bonus at the end of the month. Chen Ge's haunted house was seriously lacking in living employees. Many times, one person had to take on multiple jobs, but Chen Ge had no choice. His haunted house was unique. Every living employee had to be 100% trustworthy. That's too much. I was planning to help you, but you've helped me solve my problem. I'm taking advantage of you. Wu Jinpeng shook his head. After all, you've seen the door before. Certain things are easier to communicate, and you have a good personality. I'm sure you'll be welcomed by your colleagues. Chen Ge admired Wu Jinpeng. This father, who had been through so many difficult situations, had a heart that understood love, and a soul that was as strong as steel. You don't have to worry about interpersonal relationships. I will definitely get along well with my colleagues. However, you can pay me according to the standard of an intern. It won't be too late to become a permanent employee after I make some achievements. Wu Jinpeng's attitude was very sincere. I don't have interns at my place, or rather, the internship period is short. Normally, I can tell whether someone is suitable or not at first sight. Chen Ge's haunted house had an induction ceremony for new employees. After gaining Chen Ge's trust, the new employee would follow the visitors to visit all the scenarios inside the haunted house. If they could be saved, it meant that the new employee was good enough to stay and work for them. Okay, then I'll send Wu Sheng to school tomorrow and go through the resignation process. Since we're laying off people, the boss will probably approve it by noon. I'll go to our haunted house in the afternoon. By the way, where is our haunted house? Quote. Western Zhujiang's New Century Park haunted house. Chen Ge looked at Wu Jinpeng. This was the 5th living employee that he had personally recruited. Whether it was to open a branch in Xinhai or to deal with other matters, Wu Jinpeng would be of great help. The shadows would be taken care of by the specters, and the sunlight would be taken care of by the living. A good haunted house needed both hands. After Wu Jinpeng's joining ceremony, he would be considered one of them, and Chen Ge always treated his employees like family. Brother Peng, I have one last question for you. Chen Ge stood up and walked to Wu Kun. Has your brother been like this since he was young? When your parents were still alive, did they take him for treatment? Quote. When he was young, my parents did, but the effect was very bad. Even though he couldn't live on his own, he knew how to do some chores. My brother is very kind, and he sometimes volunteered to help me. Wu Jinpeng sat down beside his brother. There was a period of time when I went to work during the day and sang at the bar at night. It was my brother who accompanied Wu Sheng. Even though both of them were physically handicapped, they were good friends. Good friends. That's weird. Chen Ge did not want to hide anything. Wu Sheng's world behind the door is filled with many images, and they are all related to real life, but I did not see any image of your brother behind the door. It's like there is no such person in Wu Sheng's memory. That's impossible. They spend every day together. This is only the first thing that I find strange. The second thing that I find strange is the fan in Wu Kun's hand. Why does he keep saying it's a fan? Chen Ge pointed at Wu Kun's scary hand. Even though your brother's IQ is lower than normal, he is definitely not a lunatic. He doesn't look like the kind of person who would stick his hand into the fan. So, I think there might be someone else there that day. You're saying that my brother's hand was pressed into the fan. Wu Jinpeng clenched his teeth. Otherwise, why would he keep talking about the fan? He is most likely reminding you. Wu Jinpeng woke Wu Kun up the moment Chen Ge finished his words. Wu Kun, who knew nothing, hugged the fan and leaned against the wall. He was scared and angry. Little Kun, I'm here. Is your hand being bullied? Don't be afraid. Have you forgotten how your brother fought for you when you were young? Whoever dares to bully you, Big Brother will beat them up. Can you tell Big Brother? Quote. Wu Jinpeng spoke quickly. He was so angry that he scared his little brother. Wu Kun hugged the fan and covered himself with a thin blanket. He crawled on the ground and screamed. Can't you guys let me sleep? The soundproofing of the rental was bad, and the neighbors had their complaints. Chen Ge and Wu Jinpeng quickly worked together to restrain Wu Kun. Little Kun, don't be afraid. I'm here with you. Wu Jinpeng touched Wu Kun's head, but his eyes turned to Chen Ge. Now that you mention it, I'm reminded of something. My brother's condition has been stable, but after his hand was injured by the fan, his condition worsened. After that incident, did your brother make any other unusual movements? Wu Jinpeng thought about it. Yes, he did. Several times when I came back from work, I saw my brother hiding in the corner, staring at his own shadow. Sometimes, he would even hit his own shadow. It was the shadow from Liwan City who injured Wu Kun. But based on the shadow's personality, if Wu Kun stood in his way, he would kill Wu Kun without mercy. Could it be that he was careless? Chen Ge did not expect to find any clues from Wu Jinpeng's brother. Other than the fan, did Wu Kun say anything else that was strange? Let me think about it. Wu Jinpeng frowned. By the way, at the time, we lived in the old city. Whenever Wu Kun left the house, he would run very fast like he did not want to stay on our floor. I once asked him why, and he pointed at our neighbor's door and kept screaming ghost, 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 ghost. The old city. Where did your family live in the old city? Quote. Initially, we lived at Happy East Street in Zhujiang's old city. Then, we moved to eastern Zhujiang. After a while, due to work, we moved to western Zhujiang. Wu Jinpeng gave Chen Ge all the addresses that he had lived in. Your family lived in the old city, and so did Zhang Ming. Fan Yu lived there when he was young. Is the old city really that scary? Chen Ge memorized Wu Jinpeng's address. He planned to go there to take a look. Wait a minute, I'm reminded of something else. Wu Jinpeng opened the wooden box that held the guitar and took out a mud statuette with Wu Sheng's name. The statuette was dark like it was made from mud mixed with blood. When we lived in the old city, that strange neighbor gave us an altar. He said that if we kept it at home, Wu Sheng would be able to speak again in 9 years. What about the altar? The altar was very big, so it was not convenient to carry it around. When we moved the second time, we left it at the rental in eastern Zhujiang. The new tenant thought the altar was unlucky, so they moved it to the basement. Wu Jinpeng handed the statuette in his palm to Chen Ge. But we've been carrying the statuette that was placed inside the altar with us. Everything matched up. Chen Ge accepted the statuette and placed it on his shadow. Brother Peng, the altar is not worshipping a god. You've been harmed by the neighbor at the old city. Could it be that neighbor who pushed Wu Kun's hand into the fan? I can't be sure for now, but I will investigate this. Rest early, I won't disturb you any longer. Chen Ge picked up the statuette that was placed on his shadow and returned it to Wu Jinpeng. Remember to come to work tomorrow. Strangely enough, not long after the statuette was placed on Chen Ge's shadow, the black and red blood on the statuette disappeared. Welcome to Fanfic Audiobook, your go-to place for immersive audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. The people inside the room did not notice that after Chen Ge's shadow absorbed the blood on the statuette, it started to slowly change shape like a sleeping woman was turning in her sleep. Rest early. I'll see you tomorrow. Chen Ge glanced at the clock on the wall. It was 2 a.m. He exited the room, but he did not return to New Century Park. Instead, he hailed a cab to head to the old city. The dim light from the streetlights filtered through the car window and fell on him. Chen Ge looked at the quiet city and pulled his collar tighter. The old city at night was very different from how it was in the day. There was no light, no sound. As Zhujiang continued to develop, the number of people who stayed there decreased, and most of them moved to the new city. Walking through the dark streets, Chen Ge only used 10 minutes to find Wu Jinpeng's previous rental. The rental was 2 streets away from his home. The environment here was even worse, and the stench in the air was thicker. How did they manage to stay here for so long? Am I the only one who can smell this stench? Chen Ge thought back to when he came to find Zhang Ming's mother that morning. Perhaps they were used to it or something else, but they did not seem to be able to smell the strange stench in the air. Walking out from the alley, Chen Ge held the rusted railing and came to the second floor of one of the old buildings. He looked into the distance. This was not the most abandoned and dilapidated place in the old city. Room 204, found it. It's this one. Chen Ge stopped moving. Before him was a wooden door that was painted red, and the doorknob was tied with a rusted iron chain. After Wu Jinpeng moved away, has this room been rented out again? Flipping through the comic, Chen Ge summoned Meng Nan. Brother Nan, help me. Go into this room and take a look. Be careful not to go to the room next door. The innermost room on the second floor, room 205, was the room that Wu Kun said was haunted. It was also the tenant of that room who gave Wu Jinpeng the altar and mud statuette. For the sake of safety, Chen Ge only had Meng Nan enter room 204 first. If there was nothing, then he would summon a few more red specters to enter room 205 together. Blood dripped through the gap of the door. Meng Nan reappeared less than a minute after he disappeared. Everything is normal inside the room. I don't see any problems, but I don't feel comfortable staying inside. Bring Shu Yin with you and take this red high heels to room 205 next door to take a look. The 3 red specters entered room 205. Several seconds later, a strange sound came from inside the room. It sounded like a knife piercing through a balloon filled with water. Then, Chen Ge heard the sound of bones being dislocated and torn apart. What happened? Blood vessels crawled on the door, and the heavy smell of blood drifted uncontrollably. Chen Ge knew that Meng Nan had run into something. He flipped through the comic, wanting to release Xiao Biyu and the red raincoat as well. This place was like hell on earth, but the light on the other side of the corridor was switched on. One could hear the dissatisfied cursing and footsteps of a man. Just as the family was about to come out, the door to room 205 before Chen Ge was suddenly pushed open from the inside. Chen Ge, quick, come and take a look. Slipping into the room, Chen Ge instinctively covered his nose and mouth. The room was filled with a thick stench. Closing the door lightly, Chen Ge used his yin-yang vision to study the room. The room was not big, only about 30 square meters. The walls were covered in yellowed newspapers, and there was dust everywhere. This place had been abandoned for a long time. What were you fighting with earlier? Chen Ge was curious. It's not a thing, it's a curse. Meng Nan tore off the newspaper that was stuck on the wall. The back of the newspaper and the walls of the room were covered in small pieces of hair and small patches of black blood. It looked very creepy. These are the curses. Yes, the pieces of hair and blood come from different people. When we came in earlier, we saw the black threads of the curse curled together and cover the whole room. If someone accidentally enters, they will be cursed without knowing it. Meng Nan signaled for Chen Ge to step back and stay away from the wall. Is the curse in this room the same as the curse in Liwan City? It's different. Only Meng Nan, who was knee-high with Chen Ge, hugged the red high heels, and said seriously, based on what this big sister said, the curse in this room is just the negative emotion that came out when another curse was completed. In other words, someone once completed a very scary curse in this room. You can think of it that way. After all, the negative emotion that came out was only a small part of it. Meng Nan nodded. He was the kind of person who was strict and serious. A small part of the negative emotion can turn the room into this state. Just how evil is the curse itself? How scary is it? Quote. I can't imagine. At least, this big sister has not seen such a scary curse before. Meng Nan raised the red high heels. Can you help me carry this? Honestly, I'm not afraid of her, but it's not convenient to carry her shoes around. Quote. Can you tell what the curse is related to based on the things left behind in this room? Or can you tell who the curse is targeting? Chen Ge ignored Meng Nan's request. We have no idea who the curse is targeting, but we can see some information on the wall. The curse is made up of 9 parts. Meng Nan tore down all the newspapers that were stuck to the innermost wall of the room. On the wall that was covered in broken hair and blood stains, there was a small person drawn. The person's body was covered in many crooked words. What is a human? How can one form a human? Eyes that can see the world, ears that can hear, a mouth that can communicate, a body that can contain the soul. A human needs memories, layers of the past. What is light? Warmth. Yes, a human has warmth. They say that a human should also have love, but what is love? It seems like I'm missing something very important. Now that I think about it, what else does he have that I don't? The lines of words cut the small person's body into 9 parts, and each part had a different color. Is this the curse? Chen Ge was confused. Instead of calling it a curse, it is more like the owner's nightmare. This should be the thing that he thought about the most when he was casting the curse. Meng Nan added after a moment. This kind of curse gives us a very unique feeling, like there is a growing seedling hidden in the thick scent of death. 9 parts, corresponding to 9 children. The one who left behind this curse is probably the ghost fetus. Did he stay at the old city before? There were no other clues in the room. Chen Ge summoned the few red specters back and walked out of the room. It will be bad if someone accidentally enters this place. Chen Ge locked the room. He planned to clean this room when he had the time in the future. Earlier, it felt like someone was coming out from this room. Since he is still awake, I might as well ask him some questions. Chen Ge walked to the other side of the 2nd floor. This room was different from the rest of the rooms. There was an anti-theft door on the outside and a wooden door on the inside. The tenant did not appear to be a normal tenant. Is anyone there? Chen Ge knocked on the door lightly. Moments later, an agitated middle-aged man's voice came from inside the room. Stop *C King knocking. The wooden door inside the room was pushed open, and an unkempt middle-aged man who reeked of sweat stood at the door. Was it you who made such a ruckus outside earlier? Or you new here? Why aren't you asleep yet? If you keep this up, I'll call the police. Quote. There is no need to trouble the police with such a small matter. I just want to ask you a few questions. Chen Ge smiled politely. I'm not asking for nothing. If you answer me properly, I will pay you 100 RMB for each question. Are you sleepwalking? Why are you asking me questions at 2 in the morning? The middle-aged man seemed to realize something. He looked around. Are you guys filming a prank show? First question, who is the landlord of this building? I am the landlord. What about it? Are you here to rent this place? Hurry up and leave. I will not rent someone like you. The middle-aged man was very unkempt himself, and the way he looked at Chen Ge was filled with condescension. Second question, has room 205 been rented out recently? Chen Ge was too lazy to waste time. If not for his generosity, he would have let the red specters out already. Room 205 has been rented out since 5 or 6 years ago. The tenant pays me the rent every year. He doesn't stay here often, but he told me to keep the room open for him. The middle-aged man scratched his hair that was stuck together. You haven't rented it out to anyone else? No, the tenant always pays me half a year in advance, and every time, he pays me more. What does the tenant look like? Do you know what his occupation is? Chen Ge had a feeling that this tenant was the ghost fetus. Why should I tell you? Do you think you can leak the tenant's information so easily? The middle-aged man pouted. Tell me the person's appearance and occupation, and I will give you another 500 RMB. He is a student. He moved here for the first time 5 years ago. I believe he got into an argument with his family and ran away from home. At the time, he was just in middle school, and he did not have that much money with him. The middle-aged man revealed the tenant's information in detail. He looks normal, has long hair, and is not that healthy. He coughs often, and he likes to talk in his sleep. That's all. That's too general. There are kids like that everywhere on the street. How am I supposed to find him? Chen Ge did not have much hope. You want to find him. The middle-aged man looked at Chen Ge up and down for a long time before raising one finger. Give me 1,000, and I will tell you a way to find him. No problem. After he ran away from home for a while, his mother came to look for him. At the time, he was not at the apartment. His mother told me that if he came back, he should go to Eastern Zhejiang's YI hospital to find her. His mother seems to be the head nurse at YI hospital. The middle-aged man was not that sleepy anymore. Even though it was almost 3 a.m., once he thought about how he could earn 2,000 by answering a few questions, his eyes glowed. This information is very important, but that is if you are not lying to me. Chen Ge pulled open the zipper of his backpack. Why would I lie to you? Hurry up and give me the money. Let me see, this is already 2,000. The middle-aged man saw Chen Ge open the backpack, and his greedy eyes wandered to the inside of the backpack. He noticed a living human spine stuck inside the bulging backpack. Quote. Rubbing his eyes, the middle-aged man looked into the backpack again. Other than the human spine, there was a pair of bloody high heels inside the backpack. Madman, pervert, murderer, fetishist. Cold sweat slid down the middle-aged man's face, and he took a small step back. My phone is out of battery. Open the door, and I'll give you the cash. Chen Ge leaned against the steel door, and the corner of his lips slowly curled up. Just a small crack will do. There's no need for that. It's just a few questions. Why would I need money? The middle-aged man took another step back. I've answered everything that needs to be answered, and I don't know anything else. The kid hasn't been back for a long time already. I believe he won't return here anymore, so you'd better go somewhere else to find him. Okay. Chen Ge nodded. With a sense of responsibility, he asked the landlord again, you really don't want the money? No, really. The middle-aged man waved his hands and closed the wooden door. Looks like there are still many good people in this world. Chen Ge carried the backpack and walked down the stairs. I haven't even heard of YI hospital. It should be a private hospital. I'll go take a look tomorrow. Stretching lazily, Chen Ge ran out of the old city without looking back. When the sun rises, there will only be 5 nights left. When Chen Ge returned to his haunted house break room, it was almost dawn. He was lying in bed to charge his phone when he saw the message from Li Jun. Emergency. Reply as soon as you see this message. Quote. Chen Ge, reply as soon as you see this message. There were many similar messages. Chen Ge knew that this was an emergency, so he called Li Jun immediately. The call was picked up after one ring, and Li Jun's voice came from the other end. Chen Ge, are you okay? Why would I be okay? Chen Ge was confused. Yesterday, we locked down the location of Jia Ming's group. The boy's father, Zhen Shang, was killed by the suspect, Bei Yi. The boy's mother, Yu Wangqing, was heavily injured and is in emergency treatment. The suspect, Bei Yi, was killed, but Jia Ming and the boy were not at the scene. We blocked all the roads, but we didn't see them. How did Jia Ming escape with a child? From the beginning, Jia Ming used Bei Yi and the boy's parents as bait. He purposely exposed himself and then used the opportunity to escape. He used his partner's life to buy time for himself. This man is too evil to be human. He is indeed not human, but Inspector Li, why are you suddenly telling me this? Normally, Li Jun would not share this kind of insider information with Chen Ge. Since he chose to tell Chen Ge, it could only mean that what happened next had something to do with Chen Ge. Jia Ming's group did not leave Zhejiang because they were looking for something. Temporarily, we do not know what they are looking for, but we found a lot of information related to you at the place where they were hiding. Their next target might be you. Looking for me. That's too scary. Chen Ge almost blurted out the words that he wished for nothing more. Before Bei Yi died, he said your name, and some of the SOS notes had New Century Park written on them. In any case, you have to be careful. After dawn, I'll send someone over. Li Jung was worried about Chen Ge's safety. Don't send anyone over. Chen Ge stopped him loudly. Brother Jung, I mean, don't alert them. They've targeted me, so this is the best chance to capture them. Jia Ming is so cunning, he'll escape at the slightest sign of trouble. Only when he's careless will we be able to deal the fatal blow. Quote. Then how are you going to ensure your safety? Jia Ming is cruel and vicious. As long as he's not captured, there will be more victims. If you think about it that way, what is this small sacrifice of mine worth? Chen Ge rejected Li Jung's offer of help. Furthermore, the information that you found at the crime scene might have been purposely left behind by Jia Ming. He wants you to focus the police force at New Century Park so that he can move to other places to commit his crimes. Misdirection. Yes, there are so many visitors at New Century Park every day, and the environment is complicated. It's too difficult to make an arrest here. You have a point, but we'll still send a few plainclothes here after dawn. Don't worry, it won't affect your business at the park. Li Jung sent another message to Chen Ge. I just sent you a contact number. If you need anything, you can use this number to contact the person in charge of the operation. Okay. Be careful. No matter what happens, you have to protect yourself first. After hanging up, Chen Ge lay in bed with the phone in his hand. There was no panic in his eyes, if anything, there was excitement. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to find Jia Ming, but now he dares to target me. There's a path to heaven, but he refuses to take it, and when there's no door to hell, he insists on knocking into it. Picking up the white cat, Chen Ge rubbed the cat's soft stomach. Jia Ming and that child know the ghost fetus very well. They appear to be searching for the children that have been chosen by the ghost fetus, but I have no idea how many they have found so far. Placing his backpack next to the bed, Chen Ge was not worried about his own safety at all. In the face of absolute strength, any scheme would be hard to succeed. At 8:10 a.m., Chen Ge pushed open the fence outside the haunted house, and the employees started to rush to work. We might have a new colleague coming over in the afternoon. Everyone, don't drop the ball and leave a good impression on the newcomer. After helping his employees with their makeup, Chen Ge carried his backpack and sat at the entrance of the haunted house. Boss, are you still going out later? Ji Feiyu walked toward Chen Ge in Dr. Skullcracker's uniform. With each step, the chains on his body clanked. I'm not going out today. I'm waiting for a fated person. Chen Ge turned around and smiled. You guys have to pay more attention today. Report to me immediately if you find anything unusual. All right. The theme park opened at 9 a.m. The visitors swarmed in, and the number was more than a few days ago. A long queue soon formed before the entrance of the haunted house. Shu and the workers were responsible for selling tickets and maintaining order. Chen Ge stood at the entrance and personally led the visitors into the haunted house, watching them sign the disclaimer. Now Chen Ge could be considered a celebrity. Some visitors came from other places, and some would ask to take a picture with Chen Ge. Chen Ge would never reject these requests. Actually, he wanted to leave himself in more people's memory. That way, if an accident happened, it would be very difficult for the other party to wipe away his trace in the world. Batches of visitors entered the haunted house. Chen Ge did not see Jia Ming or any other special visitors. The police's pursuit gave Jia Ming a lot of pressure, so he used his teammates' life to buy time for himself. He knew that his situation would only get worse, so he decided to take this gamble. Chen Ge arranged the disclaimer on the table. I have no idea what they're looking for, but I know it's probably related to the ghost fetus. This group of people has spent so much time studying me in the haunted house. This proves that the thing is most likely hiding in my place. After thinking for a long time, Chen Ge carried his backpack to the haunted house's toilet. This toilet was specially prepared for the workers. The visitors' toilet was not inside the haunted house. Meng Nan. Chen Ge flipped through the comic and summoned Meng Nan. Today, you'll guard this place. Why? You want me to guard the toilet? Isn't that a bit too much? Meng Nan wanted to argue with Chen Ge. The door that is sealed by the wooden boards can lead to the blood world. Someone has their eyes on this door. Many people knew about the door at Chen Ge's haunted house, so he did not hide it from Meng Nan. You also have a door here. The way Meng Nan looked at Chen Ge changed. It was you who pushed it open. I don't know. Chen Ge shook his head. I can't remember. You can forget that. Meng Nan lifted his head to look at Chen Ge. But you really don't look like the door pusher. The door pusher is not as cunning as you. They're not here with good intentions. Your power alone might not be enough. Chen Ge took out the red high heels and shoved them at Meng Nan. If you can't beat them, ask this big sister to help you. She's very strong. Hey, come back here. Quote, good luck. Chen Ge closed the bathroom door and returned to the haunted house. The morning passed, and nothing happened at the haunted house. Chen Ge did not see Jia Ming. Did he purposely leave behind clues to confuse the police? Chen Ge sat in the chair to think. Jia Ming met me at Liwan City. He knows that I have many specters and red specters around me. As long as he's sane, he won't come at night. He has a chance of success only in the morning, but what is this man looking for? After lunch, Chen Ge continued to wait at the haunted house. His original plan was to visit Eastern Zhejiang's YI hospital that day, but due to Jia Ming, he could not leave. The sun had risen to the top of his head. It was the hottest time of the day, but the queue before the haunted house was still long. Chen Ge patiently sent batch after batch of visitors into the haunted house. Just as he was about to give up hope, he suddenly heard a familiar voice at the door. Boss Chen. This was the first time that someone had called Chen Ge that. He turned toward the voice and saw Wu Jinpeng waving at him from among the crowd. This handsome uncle had a lot of experience. In public, he did not call Chen Ge brother like he did before. Perhaps he thought that would damage Chen Ge's image in the eyes of his employees, but he did not know how to address him, so he called him Boss Chen instead. Brother Peng, why are you here now? Is everything done? Quote. Yes, everything went smoothly. Wu Jinpeng was very tall, and he had a ponytail. He had the air of a scholar, and when he stood in the crowd, he stood out like a crane among chickens. That's good. In a bit, you'll need to familiarize yourself with the working environment at our haunted house. Chen Ge trusted Wu Jinpeng, so he prepared to start the welcoming ceremony. Currently, we're short on manpower, so I can't bring you around. Therefore, you'll have to follow the other visitors to experience the haunted house. Don't feel pressured, just treat yourself as a normal visitor. Understood. Wu Jinpeng answered decisively. It was clear that he valued this new job. Before he came, he had even taken a shower and changed into a new set of clothes. Then, we'll start with the half-star scenario. Chen Ge arranged for Wu Jinpeng and the two visitors to enter the one-star scenario. Half an hour later, the pale-faced Wu Jinpeng ran out of the haunted house with the visitors. How do you feel? I feel like the haunted house I visited before was like a child's play. Wu Jinpeng's heart skipped a beat. He was about to say something when Chen Ge patted him on his shoulder. You came out just in time. The few of them are going to visit the one-star scenario, murder by midnight. You should follow them. But I just came out. Without going through a storm, how can you see the rainbow? The pressure in life hasn't crushed you, so this small setback is nothing. Chen Ge led them to the second floor. Believe in yourself, brother Peng. Quote. Wait a minute. Don't go yet. Wu Jinpeng pulled on Chen Ge's shirt. How many scenarios do we have? Do I need to visit them all today? Quote. About 10. The higher the star, the scarier the scenario. The one-star scenario that you visited was just an appetizer. Chen Ge paused to think. It's not realistic to visit all of them in one day. That's fine. Because you might faint halfway, but that might not be the case. We have the best doctors here. If you hurry, you should have the chance to visit all of them in one day. Chen Ge sent Wu Jinpeng and the visitors into the murder by midnight scenario. Have fun. Quote. Closing the door, Chen Ge walked away, and soon, he heard Wu Jinpeng scream. As expected of a singer. Even the cry for help is so rhythmic. After another half an hour, Wu Jinpeng ran out with his hair loose. He had so much fun that he had even dropped the rubber band that tied his hair. Drink some water. There is a spare rubber band in the dressing room. You can use it first. Chen Ge handed Wu Jinpeng a bottle of water. It's not about the rubber band. When I went in just now, there was a rag doll following me. She was jumping up and down as if she was very interested in my hair. Wu Jinpeng's emotions were obviously stirred up, and he was dancing with joy. It seems like you're very popular with the old employees. Don't worry, it's all controlled backstage. Everyone is using their own way to greet you. Chen Ge had Wu Jinpeng rest by the side while he walked toward the queue. Shu Shu, do you have any visitors who want to visit 2-star scenarios and above? You're just in time. These 3 visitors bought the tickets for Muyang High School, Coffin Village, and the underground morgue. They wish to visit all 3 scenarios at once. Do you think you can let them in? You can only visit 1 scenario at a time. Chen Ge looked at the 3 visitors. I'm sorry, but we're just concerned about your safety. We've already bought the tickets. Do you want us to wait in such a long line? I don't care about the money, but I don't want to waste my time waiting. The person who spoke was a gentle-looking man. He wore glasses, was 1.85 meters tall, and wore branded clothes. He did not look like someone who lacked money. Don't worry about safety. Even if something happens, it has nothing to do with you. The other man also stood forward. He was wearing a sporty outfit, and he had a good physique. One could see the lines of his muscles. However, he was young, and he did not think before he spoke. I know you're not lacking money, but this is the rule. You can choose a scenario first, and you can decide after you visit it. Perhaps you'll change your mind then, Chen Ge suggested. Ah Wen, Xiao Jia, why don't we go in first? We've been waiting for too long. The last to speak was the only girl among the 3. She was about 26 or 27, and she looked innocent and cute. She had a mature presence about her, and that was very attractive to the males. Then, let's start with Muyang High School. Chen Ge led the 3 of them and 2 new visitors into the haunted house. By then, Wu Jinpeng had almost recovered. Brother Peng, follow the 5 of them to challenge the 2-star scenario. Can't you let me rest a little longer? You'll have to experience this sooner or later. Chen Ge pocketed the few visitors' disclaimers and led them to the entrance of the underground scenario. Before entering Muyang High School, I'll give you one more warning. Stay within your own scenarios and do not wander off. Opening the steel door that led underground, a chilling wind blew out from underground. Wu Jinpeng, who stood next to Chen Ge, shivered involuntarily. Why is there more underground? The fun has only just begun. Chen Ge watched them enter the underground. He did not close the steel door immediately but stared at the woman's back. He was sure that this was the first time he had met the woman, but for some reason, he felt a sense of familiarity from the woman. The 2 men's eyes that looked at her were filled with love, but she had no interest in them at all. There was a deep disgust hidden at the bottom of her eyes. And she always hid behind those 2 men, intentionally or unintentionally, to avoid direct contact with me. Her gaze never fell on me, as if she was deliberately not looking at me. Quote. Pulling back his gaze, Chen Ge slowly closed the steel door. Something's wrong. Picking up his backpack, Chen Ge rushed into the surveillance room and focused on the few visitors. Uncle, are you one of the workers here? I saw that you have a good relationship with the boss. After the steel door closed, the innocent-looking woman walked to Wu Jinpeng's side. I've heard that the boss occasionally has actors come here to pretend to be visitors. I'll stop pretending. I'm indeed one of the workers here, but today is my first day at work, so I don't know anything. Wu Jinpeng sighed. I might have to hide behind you later. I'm sorry, I've embarrassed the haunted house's workers. Haha, you're quite an interesting person. I'm Shen Mengbing, what about you? I'm Wu Jinpeng. What a lame name. The woman was very pretty when she smiled. She wanted to continue chatting with Wu Jinpeng, but the 2 men walked over and pushed Wu Jinpeng to the side. My name is Xiao Wen, and this is Ling Feiji. The bespectacled man glanced at Wu Jinpeng and then shook his head. He could see that Wu Jinpeng was dressed like a street vendor, and the smell of poverty hit him in the face. Nice to meet you, I am a new employee at this haunted house. The boss told me to follow the visitors to experience the haunted house. Wu Jinpeng knew what was going on with one glance. He knew that the 2 men liked the woman, but the woman did not seem to like them. Uncle, are you really an employee at this haunted house? You don't look like one. The other two visitors who had followed them sidled up to Wu Jinpeng. They did not look that old. We're students from Zhejiang Medical University. I heard from our seniors that the actors here are scarier than the last. It's like they've crawled out from hell. Hearing the comments from the two students, Wu Jinpeng's forehead started to sweat. He felt like he had joined a scary organization. I haven't met the other employees officially, so I don't know the details. Uncle, you look like a good person. Please don't lie to us. The two students knew about the various tricks of Chen Ge's haunted house. They heard about Chen Ge's haunted house every day, so they could be considered half a regular visitor. Do I look like the kind of person who would lie? Wu Jinpeng wanted to explain, but the more he tried, the more suspicious the other people looked at him. Stop wasting time. Let's go in and take a look. Ling Feiji was older than the two students, but he did not give off the feeling of maturity. He was like a flower that had grown up in a greenhouse. Even though he looked masculine, his heart was actually very fragile. The group walked down the corridor and entered Muyang High School. Wu Jinpeng and the two students walked at the front while the other three moved slowly. They looked around as they walked. It felt like they were not visiting but looking for something. The blank test papers were blown by the wind, and they rustled against the ground. When Wu Jinpeng first entered the underground scenario, he did not feel that scary, but the deeper he went, the faster his heart raced, and his palms started to sweat. Uncle, don't be so tense. You're walking with a limp. One of the students looked at Wu Jinpeng with a bitter smile. Do you have to be so realistic? Sorry, this is my first day at work. Wu Jinpeng didn't want to do this, but he really didn't have the guts. Should we wait for them? Everyone can take care of each other. Wu Jinpeng turned to look and saw the three people standing in front of a classroom. They did not show any sign of moving forward. The man called Zhao Wen even took several steps back like he was preparing to leave Muyang High School scenario. Hey, don't be afraid. If everyone stays together, there should be no problem. Wu Jinpeng wanted to comfort someone else, but the man called Zhao Wen did not appreciate it. Instead, he glared at Wu Jinpeng. The three of us will look around by ourselves. You guys go in first. Ling Feiji stayed by Shen Bingji's side at all times. Based on what our seniors said, those who split up in this haunted house will end badly. The two medical students seemed to be very experienced. They grabbed Wu Jinpeng and walked toward Shen Bingji. This is a 2-star scenario. Stop messing around. Being lectured by two students who were obviously younger than him, Ling Feiji was instantly angered. He was about to argue with the medical students when he was stopped by the woman next to him. They have a point. Xiao Jia, don't be so impulsive. Sometimes, you have to listen to others. Shen Bingji grabbed Ling Feiji's arm lightly. The condition to clear this scenario is to find enough name tags. We should hurry and try to clear this scenario in one try. Shen Bingji's voice was gentle. Her words seemed to have some kind of magic that could tame the hot-tempered Ling Feiji into submission. Just the two of you. You're leaving him. Wu Jinpeng pointed at Zhao Wen. The man with glasses stood at the entrance of Muyang High School. He was holding his phone like he was talking to someone. Ah Wen's father is looking for him. We'll move forward first. He'll catch up to us soon. Shen Bingji walked to Wu Jinpeng's side. Let's go, Uncle Shen Guai. The group entered Muyang High School just like that. After they left, Zhao Wen put down his phone. He glanced at the surveillance next to him and silently hid at a spot close to the stairs. Several minutes later, the steel door that led underground opened again, and the group of visitors entered Coffin Village with Lao Zhou's accompaniment. When they walked toward Coffin Village, Zhao Wen walked out from his hiding spot and snuck back to the surface. There was no one in the empty corridor. Zhao Wen took out his phone to glance at it. There was a map of the entire haunted house on the screen, and there was a red line marking the locations of the surveillance cameras. I wonder why Shen Bingji would be so interested in this haunted house. He carefully avoided the cameras and opened the door to the dressing room. There were many scary costumes in the room, and there were many makeup items on the table. Not here. Zhao Wen held his phone and carefully closed the door to the dressing room. He entered the prop room, but there was still nothing that he was looking for. I'm quite lucky. Neither of these rooms is occupied. I can't believe I came up with so many excuses to escape. Next to the prop room was the staff break room. Zhao Wen turned the doorknob, and the door opened. Are all the doors in this haunted house unlocked? Aren't they afraid of being burgled? Quote. Just as he pushed the door open, Zhao Wen was stunned. He saw a large cat in the staff break room. The cat was larger than a normal cat, and its body was snowy white. It was lying on the bed, and its heterochromatic eyes were staring at Zhao Wen. That gave me a fright. Zhao Wen entered the room. He looked around and started to rummage through the room. The cat kept staring at him from afar, and it caused Zhao Wen's heart to quiver. How come it feels like the cat is smiling? Even cats can smile. Quote. Zhao Wen moved faster. He opened the closet door, and there were only a few lousy clothes. He looked under the bed, and there were only a bunch of abandoned props. They looked like they were used to support the bed. This staff break room is too basic. Are the employees fine with it? Zhao Wen looked around and finally looked at the study table. The table is not locked, so there probably isn't anything important inside. Pulling open the drawer, Zhao Wen saw a lighter that was almost out of oil and a thick stack of draft paper. Flipping through the draft paper, he realized that underneath the stack of draft paper was a diary with a blood-red cover. Meow. When it saw the diary, the white cat, who was lying obediently on the bed, leapt to the bottom of the bed. What is this? That gave me a fright. Zhao Wen placed the diary on the table and flipped to the first page. X year X month X day, I dragged her by her hair and tied her up in the corridor. I leaned against her face and listened to her gradually weakening heartbeat. The moment before she stopped breathing, I seemed to hear my name coming from her throat, Zhang Ya. Zhao Wen looked at the blood-red diary, and his pupils shook. His hands that were flipping through the pages felt like they could not be pulled back. The content of the diary was too cruel. Every page was filled with blood and pain. The owner of this diary was definitely a monster. This is the haunted house boss's diary. There's a need to record a murder. Quote. Zhao Wen also suspected that it was a prop, but the contents of the diary were too real. Just looking at it made his heart palpitate, and he felt like he was there. Even if the content was fake, the person who wrote this was definitely not a normal person. Taking a deep breath, Zhao Wen wanted to put the diary down, but something that he was more afraid of happened. His body seemed to have lost control. His hands flipped through the pages, and his eyes stared at the words on the red diary. He could not even move his eyes away. The diary felt like it was trying to suck his soul into it. His body temperature dropped, and Zhao Wen felt the words in the diary turn into blood-red symbols. The voices of the dead appeared in his ears, and many pairs of arms reached out from the corner of the room to grab at his body. His teeth started to chatter, and the sound of his heart grew louder. Zhao Wen's hand finally reached the blank page. Just as he thought everything was over, drop after drop of blood fell on the diary. Like a life falling from the sky, they left behind flower after flower of blood on the ground. The dark red blood seeped through the paper, and a paragraph appeared on the blank page of the diary. X year X month X day, someone read my story, and now I plan to include him in my story as well. The countless arms grabbing at his body started to tighten. Zhao Wen felt like his body was about to be torn apart. He wanted to scream, but no sound came out. He could only watch helplessly as he was dragged into the storybook. When he turned his head for the last time, he was horrified to find that his body was still where it had been. Meow. The meow of a cat echoed in the room. Zhao Wen seemed to wake up from a dream, and his eyes widened. His hands pressed against the table, and his whole body was soaked in cold sweat. The first thing he did was close the diary. Zhao Wen's arms were still shaking. Is it because my mental fortitude is too weak? Unable to move his legs, Zhao Wen thought about it and finally decided to take the diary with him. It's time to move to the next room. Pushing on his glasses, Zhao Wen leaned against the door of the staff break room to listen. After confirming that there was no movement outside, he pushed the door open and walked out. His body leaned against the wall as he entered the haunted house's toilet. Looking around, Zhao Wen's eyes soon focused on the toilet cubicle door. The wooden door was sealed shut, and there was a ghastly picture of a devil carved on it. Could it be this door? Zhao Wen slowly approached the cubicle. He shook the wooden boards, and he realized that the cubicle door was tightly sealed. It could not be opened at all. Bing Jia wants the thing behind the door, but the door is sealed. She can't get in. He squatted down and looked through the small hole in the door. It was dark red on the other side. Blood. He looked into the hole again with uncertainty. This time, there was a rolling eyeball on the other side of the hole. What is that? Zhao Wen sat on the ground. Before he could react, a loud noise came from behind him. Bang! The door to the bathroom was closed, and Chen Ge walked out from behind the door, dragging the hammer. Looks like you are indeed after this door. What do you want to do? Don't come any closer. Zhao Wen looked at the hammer in Chen Ge's hands, and his instinct told him that it was not a normal prop. This is a haunted house. Even if you scream yourself hoarse, the people outside will only think that you're having fun. Chen Ge waved his hands, and Meng Nan appeared behind Zhao Wen. Knock him out and then bring him underground. Use Zhang Yi's power on him to see if it can erase those unhappy memories. Okay. Meng Nan seemed to have mistaken Zhao Wen for Chen Ge, so he was especially harsh that day. Chen Ge stood to the side and watched quietly. He was thinking about something else. Why would these people come to my haunted house to look for the door? Currently, my enemies are the ghost fetus, the cursed hospital, and Jia Ming. Which side do these three visitors belong to? The ghost fetus was a demon god, and he was not fully born yet. The cursed hospital was a 4-star scenario, so he would not control the visitors to test the door during the day. Thinking about it that way, only Jia Ming would do something like that. Even though Jia Ming is a man, the real danger is the evil spirit in his body. When he's cornered, he might abandon Jia Ming's body and hide in another person's body. Chen Ge had encountered many difficult opponents, and his thinking was not restricted to a certain framework. Chen Ge, this man is just a normal person. He is not possessed or treated as a scapegoat. He is just stupid. Meng Nan looked at the blood-red diary that Xiao Wen had hidden in his clothes and added, the hopelessly stupid kind. Bring him to Zhang Yi. Chen Ge picked up Zhang Ya's bedtime story. When he first received this reward, he did not think much of it. He just treated it as a bedtime story and read it during his free time. This time, after Zhao Wen accidentally read this book, Chen Ge realized how scary this book was. It was not only dangerous to normal people, even Meng Nan and the red high heels did not dare touch it. No one has told me how scary this book is. That's enough. Chen Ge placed Zhang Ya's bedtime story inside the backpack. He had no idea what this book was for, but he had a feeling it would come in handy in the future. Carrying the backpack, Chen Ge entered the specter's changing room to find a change of clothes. Then, he contacted the phone spirit and headed toward Shen Bingji and Ling Feiji. Inside Muyang High School, Wu Jinpeng gradually noticed that something was wrong with Shen Bingji and Ling Feiji. They were different from normal visitors, especially that Shen Bingji. She did not seem to feel fear. Even though she would occasionally scream, she would be able to adjust herself in 2 to 3 seconds. To Wu Jinpeng's confusion, whenever they saw a door, they would run to push it, but after they pushed it open, they would not enter it but run to the next door. This is the first time I've encountered visitors like this. Could it be? Wu Jinpeng narrowed his eyes. Are these the real pros? He followed behind them with the 2 medical students, so he did not see Shen Bingji's green face. At that moment, Shen Bingji gritted her teeth and grumbled under her breath, I was too careless. I did not expect a 2-star scenario to be filled with real ghosts. Does that mean that 3-star and 4-star scenarios will start to fill them with red specters? Quote. Using red specters to scare visitors was something that Shen Bingji did not even dare to think about, but that day, she realized that someone would actually do such a thing. There are comments online saying that a haunted house like this is not scary. F***ck. This is definitely a trap. Quote. The more Shen Bingji thought about it, the more nervous she became. Everything she saw was dangerous. This place is so big. We won't be able to finish it in one day. Ling Feiji was also quite spooked. He felt like his mental endurance had reached its limit. He was just forcing himself before Shen Bingji. Take your time and pay attention to every door. Shen Bingji adjusted her breathing, and her expression returned to normal. Bingji, are you sure the thing we're looking for is here? Also, why can't we tell anyone about this? Ling Feiji silently grabbed Shen Bingji's hand. How about we come over at night? Without anyone else, it should be easier. Quote. Shen Bingji shrugged Ling Feiji's hand off. She kept telling herself, there's no need to be afraid. It's not too late to leave when the red specter shows up. Hey, your partner still hasn't arrived. Did something happen? The two medical students also noticed the strange behavior of Shen Bingji's group, and they subconsciously moved away from them. Don't worry about him. He'll be here soon. Shen Bingji did not even turn around. Hearing Shen Bingji's reply, the confusion in the medical student's heart increased. Getting separated from his partner inside a haunted house was something so scary, so how could she act so calmly? It felt like this was all part of her plan. Slowing down, the medical student nudged the other medical student. Let's go take a look inside that classroom. The two avoided Wu Jinpeng and Shen Bingji's group and ran into the classroom. Once they entered, the medical student took out his phone. Using a phone inside a haunted house. Have you forgotten the senior's warning? Quote. I have a very bad feeling. One of the medical students made a call. The uncle with the ponytail says he's a haunted house worker, but he acts so cute that it's easy to lower one's guard. Indeed, he is quite cute. He's so scared that he's walking in his own haunted house. You still don't understand the severity of this problem. Think about what kind of place this is. This is a hell that has scared so many seniors at our school to tears. Do you really think there would be such a cheerful employee here? The medical student looked as if he had expected better from him. Didn't he say that this is his first day here? Even though this is his first day here, haven't you noticed that since he said that, all our attention has been focused on him? What do you mean? We were all on guard against the uncle, but we completely ignored the other three visitors. Didn't you notice that the other three visitors were acting even weirder? One of them disappeared after entering the scenario. Where do you think he went? Quote. I get it now. You're trying to say that they are all actors at the haunted house. It's very possible. The two students looked at each other and saw the fear in each other's eyes. The two of us don't have any grudges with the boss. We are just two normal visitors. He wouldn't go so far, would he? That's what the senior who fainted thought too. The medical student made a call. Let me ask Heshan. He knows the most. Let's hear what he has to say. What are you two doing here? Before the call went through, Wu Jinpeng pushed open the classroom door. He chose to come in and find the two students because he was too scared to stay outside alone. I'm fine. The two medical students were so flustered that they almost threw their phones away. At that moment, someone picked up the call. Are you on the phone? No, I just want my friend to help me sign in. We skipped class to come out. The medical student hung up the phone and gave his companion a look. His lips slightly moved as he whispered, I guessed it right. I won't object to visiting a haunted house, but it doesn't feel right to skip class. Students should focus on their studies. Wu Jinpeng leaned toward the two students. What's wrong with you two? Why are you sweating so much? Quote. Before the two students could answer, Ling Feiji's heart-wrenching scream came from the end of the corridor. Is something wrong? Wu Jinpeng looked out the door, but he could not see Ling Feiji or Shen Bingji. We should hurry. I bet they'll be fine. We'd better protect ourselves first. The two students stood where they were, and the way they looked at Wu Jinpeng was not as friendly as before. This doesn't sound fake. Wu Jinpeng stood at the door alone. Seeing that the two students were unwilling to follow him, he gritted his teeth and rushed deeper into Muyang High School. Even though this is my first day at work, I can be considered an employee here. I can't retreat when the visitors are in danger. Looking at Wu Jinpeng's retreating back, the two medical students confirmed their suspicion. At that moment, one of the medical students' phone vibrated. He looked at the caller ID and answered it immediately. Heshan, time is of the essence, and the situation is dangerous. Listen to us first. I'm currently at New Century Park's haunted house. The medical student dragged the other student to hide under the table and told Heshan everything that he had seen. Moments later, Heshan's slightly hoarse voice came from the other end of the phone. Based on my understanding of Mr. Chen, today is the new employee's first day, so he will arrange for other employees to accompany him. I get it now. This is a test for the new employee. And the test target should be you two. Quote. We're the test target. Yes, it's not easy to become an actor at a haunted house. You have to have extraordinary talent, sharp observation skills, and most importantly, superb acting skills. You've all been tricked by that uncle. Heshan's words caused the two medical students to suck in a cold breath. Everything that he did earlier was an act. Isn't that a bit too scary? Quote. Remember this, the evilest soul often hides under the most harmless skin. Heshan then hung up, leaving behind two shadows shivering under the table. At the deepest part of Muyang High School's male dormitory, Ling Feiji hugged a body that was wrapped in tape. His eyes were glazed over as he collapsed to the ground. When he entered the male dormitory earlier, everything had been normal, but as he turned around, he realized that Shen Bingji had disappeared. He pushed open the door to the dormitory next door and saw a hanging mannequin inside. He called Shen Bingji's name, but before Shen Bingji arrived, the hanging mannequin ran out from the dormitory and followed behind him. If that was still acceptable, then what happened next was completely beyond Ling Feiji's mental endurance. He was already afraid, and to shake off the mannequin, he picked up his speed and ran down the corridor. When he was halfway down the corridor, he saw a woman with a good figure. He thought it was Shen Bingji, so he rushed toward her excitedly. However, when he reached her side, before he could say anything, he saw the woman's head turn 180 degrees. The most exciting thing was to come. The woman laughed as her body scattered like wooden blocks. Ling Feiji was so scared that he crawled on the ground. Finally, he ran into the room that the stench had been in. He pulled open the closet door and was about to hide inside when a body wrapped in scotch tape slammed into his face. Boss, the woman abandoned her boyfriend and ran away. OL, Bai is chasing after her, and I've locked the man in this room. Not bad, Duan Yu. You can take charge now. The dormitory door was pushed open, and one mannequin head after another rolled into the room. Pairs of eyes filled with curiosity stared at Ling Feiji. The smell of blood and a stinging stench filled the air. Then, a fat man in a red shirt with an exaggerated build squeezed into the room. Behind him was a headless woman who was hugging her own head. Being surrounded by this group of people, Ling Feiji's tears fell uncontrollably. He felt like he was going to suffocate. All the ghosts only surrounded him, but they did not harm him. It was not until footsteps came, and the door was pushed open again. The mannequin heads rolled to the side. Foul odor and the headless woman moved aside to open a path, and a young man carrying a backpack walked into the room. You're Ling Feiji, right? Chen Ge squatted down before Ling Feiji. What is your relationship with that woman? How did she contact you? What did she tell you? Quote. Ling Feiji looked at Chen Ge, and his psychological defense completely collapsed. Once he opened his mouth, he started to cry. I'm just asking you a few questions, so why are you crying? Chen Ge frowned and took out the hammer from his backpack. You're already in your 20s, but you're still acting like a child. Stop crying, or I won't go easy on you. Quote. Seeing the hammer that Chen Ge took out from his backpack, Ling Feiji cried even harder, and as he cried, his body convulsed. To prevent this from damaging Ling Feiji's body, Chen Ge had foul odor knock him out. Bring him to the underground morgue to find Zhang Yi. The rest of you, come with me to find that woman. After leaving the male dormitory, Chen Ge contacted most of the employees at the haunted house through Tong Tong and mobilized everyone to look for Shen Bingji. At this time, the tourists who were still visiting the underground scene had unfortunately become victims. Specters and spirits wandered around. Normally, it was the visitors who went looking for the specters, but now, it was a group of specters who went looking for the visitors. The only steel door that led to the surface was sealed, and there was a red high heels guarding it, so Chen Ge was not worried that Shen Bingji would escape. It was only a matter of time before he caught her. 10 minutes later, Chen Ge received the notification from Tong Tong. OL, Bai and the students from the School of the Afterlife had cornered Shen Bingji at the classroom entrance. There are so many scenarios, but he chose to hide in a 4-star scenario. This woman sure has a keen sense of smell. Dragging the hammer, with 2 red specters following behind him, Chen Ge appeared before Shen Bingji without any disguise. What are you doing? Shen Bingji, who looked weak, was hiding in the last row of the classroom. She had nowhere to run. The front door, the back door, the windows, there were moving shadows everywhere. Why are you always the guilty ones complaining first? Don't you know what I'm trying to do? Chen Ge summoned Xu Yin, and the number of red specters in the classroom had increased to 5. Should I call you Shen Bingji? Or should I call you Jia Ming? Quote. When Shen Bingji heard the name Jia Ming from Chen Ge's lips, her hands that covered her chest slowly lowered, and the fear and nervousness on her face slowly disappeared. She leaned against the cold wall and slowly raised her hands above her head. How did you discover me? There was no point in arguing anymore, so Shen Bingji made the wisest choice. It's none of your business. Chen Ge surrounded Shen Bingji with the 4 red specters in the middle. This was a privilege that not many people had enjoyed before. Do you want to come out on your own, or do you want me to invite you out? We can talk about this. There is no conflict of interest between you and I. We are both pitiful people who have been harmed by the ghost fetus. Shen Bingji's voice was still as gentle as before, but her tone was completely different from before. Why do your words sound so familiar? Chen Ge thought for a while. He seemed to say this often. Looks like you don't want to come out. Let's all go and help him. Several red specters walked forward. The pressure they felt was indescribable. Cold sweat the size of beans slid down Shen Bingji's face, and there was a deep sense of helplessness in her eyes. A person who had the help of multiple red specters would choose to open a haunted house. Was that how you used a red specter? If I was given a few red specters, no, just 1 red specter, I would not be so passive. Shen Bingji's fists tightened, and in the end, she chose to give in. I can tell you a very important piece of information. In exchange, I hope you will let me go. Quote. I still don't think you understand the situation you are in. I do not need you to tell me anything. In a bit, I will have a few red specters pull you out from this woman's body and then have them place a curse on your body. Finally, the hundreds of lingering spirits inside my haunted house will consume you bit by bit, and you will watch as you are consumed by them. Don't worry, I will not destroy your soul. I will wait for you to slowly recover, and then I will repeat this process. There was a smile on Chen Ge's face, and there was a glint in his eyes. Are you an evil spirit in human skin? Shen Bingji's face and neck were pale from fear. There was no trace of blood on her face. My haunted house is full of talents. Some are good at curses, and some can control memories. When the time comes, I will slowly experiment on you. Chen Ge waved his hands. When you were torturing others, you did not expect this day to come, did you? The ghost fetus is about to revive, and you are the key to it. One of the conditions for his rebirth is that you have to die. I know many secrets about the ghost fetus, and I can help you. Shen Bingji changed her tone, and her attitude became better. I will not believe anything that you say now, unless you leave this woman's body now. No problem, but after I leave the human body, the body will soon dissipate. Shen Bingji looked troubled. Don't worry, with me around, it will not be that easy for you to die. Hearing what Chen Ge said, Shen Bingji's expression seemed to turn even darker. She slowly collapsed to the ground and closed her eyes. A cold draft blew through the classroom, and the woman's shadow slowly stood up. Using yin-yang vision, Chen Ge saw very clearly that there was a ball of sticky red threads inside the woman's shadow. The threads contained curses and malice, and they slowly formed the shape of a man. This figure was different from Jia Ming, it was much taller than Jia Ming. Attached to the shadow and slowly corrupt the person. This is what I learned from the ghost fetus. He was originally a person's shadow. The man was a special type of specter. His body was occupied by curses and blood vessels, and he could barely be considered a half-red specter. My name is Zhang Long, and I was once a victim. The ghost fetus drove my family crazy and made me work for him. After the job was done, he turned me into this. Even in my dreams, I wished to kill him. This is such a coincidence. Even in my dreams, I wished to kill him. Chen Ge took out the comic. Stop wasting time. Why did you come to my haunted house? Don't lie. Tell me the truth. It will be beneficial for everyone. Quote. The ghost fetus wants to revive. He has taken away a very important part from each of the 9 children. Now he is hiding inside one of the children and hibernating. When he wakes up, no matter whether he succeeds or not, we will all die. The man's voice was shaking. Whenever the name ghost fetus was mentioned, he would be afraid. That kind of fear was carved into his heart, and it would never be erased. Don't tell me these things that I know. Chen Ge dragged the hammer and took one step forward. Do you know more about the 9 children? Chen Ge had suspected this since a long time ago. Jia Ming's group did not have any outside help, and with the police on their tail, they managed to find the altar on their own. That was unbelievable. Other than the ghost fetus himself, no one knows about the children, but I know a way to identify them. The man did not dare hide anything. I brought a child out from Liwan City. His name is Zhen Zhen. He is a failed product that the shadow raised. He has a very small presence that is similar to the ghost fetus. In other words, he shares the same origin as the ghost fetus, so he occasionally has some strange dreams. Those dreams are intertwined with the 9 children's fates. Chen Ge and the ghost fetus were playing hide and seek with the whole city as the backdrop. Now, it was the ghost fetus who was in the dark, and he was in the light. This made him very uncomfortable. However, Zhen Zhen's appearance gave Chen Ge hope of changing his situation, but the premise was that Zhang Long was not lying. Where is the child now? I've hidden him. The police are looking for him, and another group of people from Zhujiang are also looking for him. Zhang Long's body was covered in blood vessels, and he looked quite disgusting. Another group of people. Chen Ge's interest was piqued. He did not expect other people in Zhujiang to be interested in the ghost fetus other than himself. We've met him in Liwan City. The man's lips were cracked, and he always had a smile on his face. He always wore a patient's garb under his jacket. The non-smiler. Yes, I have no idea whether he is acting on his own or on behalf of the cursed hospital in Shanghai. Zhang Long's voice slowly turned calm. He seemed to have accepted the fact that he had fallen into Chen Ge's hands and had given up on struggling. You know about the cursed hospital. Chen Ge narrowed his eyes. Are you lying to me? You want me to focus on that hospital? Quote. I have no reason to lie to you. The reason I risked entering your haunted house today is because I was forced into a corner. Zhang Long had a bitter smile on his face. The police's pursuit made it hard for me to breathe, but the real despair was 2 nights ago. I saw the non-smiler downstairs. The madman was standing outside. I saw him, and he saw me. Quote. There doesn't seem to be any connection between your despair and risking your life to enter my haunted house, right? Chen Ge had entered the police station many times, and he had been interrogated by the police many times. He had accumulated a lot of experience dealing with the police, so he was very familiar with interrogating people now. The shadow said that there is a hidden door inside your haunted house. He became what he is after entering that door. The shadow had once possessed Zhang Long's body for a long time, so he knew many secrets about the shadow. Did he tell you what is behind that door? You don't know what's behind that door either. After hearing Chen Ge's question, Zhang Long was startled at first, but he quickly recovered. The shadow never mentioned what he saw behind the door. I wanted to enter the door because I wanted to become like the shadow. The police chasing me is enough of a headache. Now that I'm being targeted by the non-smiler, I need to leave a way out for myself. Quote. Zhang Long's reason made sense. Chen Ge thought about it and stopped asking. It's too dangerous for the boy to be out there alone. Tell me where he is, and I'll go fetch him. The classroom became quiet, and after a long time, Zhang Long said, he's in a basement in western Zhujiang. The place is not easy to find. I'll take you there. Flipping through the comic, Chen Ge locked Zhang Long and foul odor together. Everyone, return to your posts. We've already captured him. Chen Ge had his employees return to their respective scenarios while he carried his backpack and headed out. To prevent Zhang Long from leaving any backup, Chen Ge left Meng Nan and the red high heels at the toilet to guard the door, while he had Bai and Lao Zhou patrol the underground scenarios. After ensuring that there were no problems, Chen Ge left the theme park and headed toward the place that Zhang Long had mentioned. The place was close to the theme park, but normally, not many people went there. When Chen Ge left the theme park, a few plainclothes officers followed him. Actually, Chen Ge had noticed them long ago, but he did not stop them. After taking a long detour, Chen Ge found the room that Zhen Zhen was hiding in at the back alley of the old street that was about to be demolished. It was not easy for you to find this place. Zhang Long should have had his eyes on Chen Ge's haunted house, but due to the lack of information, his plan was foiled before it could be carried out. The owner had disappeared. With Zhang Long's guidance, Chen Ge entered the backyard and pulled open the wooden planks that led to the cellar. He looked down and saw a child tied to the wooden planks. Next to him was an unconscious adult man. Zhen. Hearing the voice, the child opened his eyes and whimpered at Chen Ge. "It's fine now, don't be afraid." Chen Ge entered the cellar and untied the rope that bound the child. The child had been tied up for a long time, and his limbs were covered in bruises. He carried the child out of the cellar and turned to look at the unconscious man. The man who had fainted next to the child was Ji Yuming. Everything was Zhang Long's doing, but Ji Yuming was the one who had to bear the blame. He had long lost his sense of self. His soul and will had been consumed by Zhang Long, and all that was left was an empty shell of a living person. Zhang Long had already destroyed Jia Ming. "You sure are a troublemaker." Chen Ge was about to ask Zhang Long more questions when the door to the small courtyard was pushed open. "Don't move. Get down." Get down. Two plainclothes officers rushed into the room. The police siren came from outside the alley, and soon, another two officers in uniform ran over. "I'm one of our own. My name is Chen Ge. This time, the suspect is here to kill me to vent his anger." Chen Ge spoke as fast as he could, and he got the key information out in the shortest time possible. "If you don't believe me, you can call Li Zheng from the Criminal Investigation Unit. Kill you to vent his anger." The two plainclothes officers looked at the unconscious Jia Ming and then at the lively Chen Ge. They did not dare let their guard down. "Put down the gun, he is indeed one of our own." The two officers that came later were from the Criminal Investigation Unit. Even though Chen Ge did not have any impression of them, they knew Chen Ge. With the misunderstanding cleared, Chen Ge sighed in relief. Only after being pointed at by a gun did he understand how much pressure it was. "It's confirmed that the fainted man is the grade A wanted criminal, Jia Ming." The officer held Chen Ge's hands. "Brother, you've done another great service. It's my duty. Helping the police to maintain order is the duty of every citizen. Of course, if there's a reward, that would be even better." Chen Ge and Zhen stood to the side. The two officers stood on either side of Jia Ming and prepared to carry him into the police car. The arrest went smoothly, but just as the two officers were about to drag Jia Ming out of the small courtyard, the comic that Chen Ge was holding suddenly released a cold wind. The blood vessels and curses intertwined to form a fast-moving shadow that crawled into Jia Ming's body. The unconscious Jia Ming suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were bloodshot, and he screamed at the top of his lungs, "He wants to kill me. Save me! Save me!" Then, he crawled into the police car like a madman. This was the first time that the officers had encountered a murderer who wanted to be caught so badly. Honestly, Chen Ge was startled. He really did not expect a baleful specter to ask the police for help. However, Chen Ge reacted quickly. When Zhang Long returned to Jia Ming's body, he flipped open the comic and leapt forward. "Everyone, be careful. Save me. Take me to jail. Quick." Chen Ge raised his fist and aimed it at Jia Ming's face. He had to shut the man up. With Chen Ge's intentional control, he knocked Jia Ming into the corner of the alley. In that short half a second, Chen Ge shoved all the red specters that he could summon into Jia Ming's body. "Police! Save me! Arrest me! Arrest me!" Jia Ming's eyes rolled upward, and he fainted again. "Chen Ge, are you all right?" The few officers immediately came to surround him. "I've only scratched a little." Chen Ge picked up the comic that had turned blood red and slowly stood up. "This man pretended to faint earlier. He sure is cunning." After subduing two criminals, Chen Ge had gained a good impression of the police. The capture of a grade A fugitive was something that could cause a commotion. However, due to Jia Ming's uniqueness, the case that involved him was not publicized, so Chen Ge's name only spread further within the police circle. "Officers, this boy's father was murdered, and his mother is unconscious. This is his most vulnerable time. If possible, I wish to spend more time with him." Chen Ge carried the backpack and hugged the boy's shoulders, allowing him to lean against him. "Don't worry, we'll hire professionals to take care of him and give him psychological counseling." Then can I visit him once in a while? I've met his parents once, so there should be more to talk about. Please. Chen Ge looked at the boy with longing. If you wish to visit him, just call Captain Li Jun. The few officers did not have the heart to reject Chen Ge. Thank you. Chen Ge squatted down before the boy. My name is Chen Ge. You can come to me if you need anything. I remember you, on the bus, you sat behind your father. The boy had taken the same hearse as Chen Ge into Liwan City, so he could remember Chen Ge's face. I should have taken you away that day. If I had done that earlier, none of this would have happened. Hugging the boy lightly, Chen Ge carried the backpack and walked out of the alley. Looking at his back as he slowly walked away, the two plainclothes officers sighed softly. What a kind and gentle person. Chen Ge did not know how the police viewed him. After leaving the alley, he did not return to New Century Park but walked into a nearby stairwell. Standing in the stairwell where the sun did not reach, Chen Ge flipped through the comic, and the light scent of blood floated to his nose. Soon, Foul Odor and Shu Yin appeared with Zhang Long. Chen Ge, give me another chance. I was confused just now. I couldn't control myself. My brain reacted instinctively. Zhang Long was so scared that his body started to fade. He kept begging for mercy. Let me tell you something very important. Zhen and I have found a child who has been chosen by the ghost fetus. The child was born with a natural inability to smell. His sense of smell has been taken away by the ghost fetus. Looking at Zhang Long, Chen Ge said expressionlessly, take me to the child whose sense of smell was stolen. He's already dead. Bei Yi did it. Zhang Long did not dare lie anymore. Every child chosen by the ghost fetus corresponds to a door, and behind the door is a kind of power of the ghost fetus. As long as you can find the item that has the ghost fetus, lingering presence behind the door, you will be able to obtain that power. There's such a saying. That's what the shadow told me, but it doesn't sound that easy to put into practice. We found the child chosen by the ghost fetus 7 days ago. When he was asleep, we entered his door, and the ghost fetus, lingering presence was attached to a toy dog. At this point, Zhang Long sneaked a look at Chen Ge. I can bring you to that toy dog and the mud statuette that has the boy's name written on it. Wait a minute. At most, you are a half-red specter. How are you going to deal with a baleful specter that has the ghost fetus, lingering presence behind the door? Chen Ge had entered the doors of the children who had been chosen before. He had taken any of the children's doors, and the difficulty was higher than a normal 2-star scenario. The more doors you open, the easier it is for the ghost fetus to awaken, and the stronger the presence it gives off. I opened the first door, so it was the easiest. Quote. Chen Ge calculated the time. Zhang Long was not lying about this. He had entered Zhang Ming and Wu Sheng's doors before. Wu Sheng's door was obviously bigger and scarier than Zhang Ming's. Bring me to that toy dog. Okay, they're in that small yard. With Zhang Long leading the way, Chen Ge returned to the small yard. He entered from the back door and found a black leather bag under the bed. Opening the bag, Chen Ge saw a toy dog that had almost lost all its fur. Chen Ge had an impression of this toy dog. When he moved for the first time, he had found this toy dog in the stairwell. At the time, the dog had not shed its fur yet, and it had looked cute. He had no idea who had left it there. He waited dumbly for an hour before he carried the toy dog home. Is this the Shadow's toy? Chen Ge reached out to pick up the toy dog, and at the same time, the black phone in his pocket vibrated. Chen Ge summoned all the baleful specters back into the comic and then took out the black phone to take a look. The 4-star trial mission, Ghost Fetus, has been completed 3/9. The Ghost Fetus, sense of smell has been heavily damaged. Lucky red specters favored, you do not have much time left. Quote. After receiving the message from the black phone, Chen Ge sighed in relief. Zhang Long had not lied to him. This toy dog had indeed been taken out from behind one of the doors. Unfortunately, it was not Chen Ge who had found the boy but Zhang Long and Bei Yi. With a light sigh, Chen Ge placed the mud statuette from the bag on top of his shadow. The blood-stained statuette had the name Lu Wen written on it. When the statuette touched Chen Ge's shadow, the black and red blood on its body started to disappear rapidly. This time, Chen Ge stood to the side and watched quietly. He realized that his shadow was like a deep pool. Even at a place far, far away, he could see a woman's sleeping face. Zhang Ya's wounds seemed to have healed a lot. Looks like the black blood on these statuettes has helped her a lot. Pressing his hand on the shadow, Chen Ge narrowed his eyes. The eyelashes of the woman who seemed to be sleeping at the bottom of the ocean fluttered like she was about to open her eyes. The last drop of black blood was sucked away by the shadow, and the statuette with Lu Wen's name shattered into pieces. Lu Wen, Wu Sheng, Fang Yu, and my statuette. If Zhang Ya absorbs all the black blood on the statuette, she might be able to wake up. Standing in the stairwell, Chen Ge looked at the crumbled mud statuettes on the ground. For the sake of being reborn as a human, the ghost fetus took away part of the powers from the 9 children, including hearing, smell, sight, and so on. This matches the talent that the black phone gave me perfectly. When I first got the black phone, the first power I got was yin-yang vision. It was related to sight. Then I got the talent of dollmaker, related to body creation. After that, I got ghost ear and spirit sniff. These powers perfectly match a human's 5 senses, and they match the powers that the ghost fetus has taken away from the children. Is the ghost fetus repeating the process of the black phone? Or are the black phone and the ghost fetus doing the same thing? Chen Ge felt a strange chill run down his spine. Perhaps everything had been decided the moment he got the black phone. Chen Ge could still remember when he first obtained the black phone. In the past few months, he and the haunted house had changed so much, but the phone in his pocket was still the same. Sliding the screen, Chen Ge stared at the phone. What is the truth? The mission hint on the black phone told Chen Ge that he was getting closer to the truth, but he had no idea what it was. Even for missions as difficult as Ghost Fetus and School of the Afterlife, the black phone only marked them as 4-star trial missions. The word trial made his hair stand on end. Chen Ge had been avoiding this question. He did not dare think about it, and he did not have the time or energy to think about it. I have lost part of my past memory, but my shadow should not have forgotten it. He followed me and witnessed everything. The ghost fetus trial mission might be a turning point. If I can communicate with the ghost fetus, I will be able to get to the bottom of everything that has happened in the past from him. I will be able to find out what I have done and where my parents have gone. All the questions could be answered at that moment, but the prerequisite was to capture the ghost fetus and make him talk. Life or death, hide and seek, the game between me and my shadow. Perhaps we have played this a long time ago. Chen Ge placed the toy dog that had lost its fur inside his backpack and placed it next to the wooden toy from earlier. 10 minutes later, Chen Ge returned to the haunted house. He was about to enter the underground scenario when he saw Lao Zhou hugging Wu Jinpeng's shoulders with a smile on his face. Next to them were 2 students who had fainted from fear. What are you guys talking about? Why are you so happy? Quote. Boss, this is our new employee, right? He's very talented. Lao Zhou laughed. He appeared to have a good relationship with Wu Jinpeng. Very talented. Chen Ge looked at Wu Jinpeng with curiosity, and he wondered if Wu Jinpeng had used some kind of special power during the desperate situation. Don't make fun of me. Wu Jinpeng's face was bitter. I don't know why these 2 kids are suddenly so afraid of me. I wanted to help them, but I accidentally pushed them into the circle of old employees. Don't be so humble. It's rare for me to see an actor who can scare a visitor unconscious on his first day. Chen Ge patted Wu Jinpeng's shoulder. Good luck. If you have any questions, just ask Lao Zhou. Seeing that the employees were getting along so well, Chen Ge was relieved. Let's get familiar with everyone first. That way, Wu Jinpeng won't be too surprised when he finds out the true identity of Lao Zhou and the others. Opening the door that led underground, Chen Ge came to the underground morgue. He found Zhang Yi and Dr. Wei. Is Zhang Yi's ability useful? Have the 3 tourists woken up? Quote. I can only temporarily erase their memories. Perhaps one night in the future, they will wake up from their dreams and remember some fragments. Zhang Yi was still very weak, looking like he was half dead. That's good enough. This power of yours is really scary. Chen Ge took out the red high heels. Make the best use of your time to recover. Your power will be very useful in the future. After moving the 3 visitors and the 2 medical students out of the haunted house, Chen Ge returned to the staff break room. He closed the curtains, locked the door, and summoned Zhang Long and foul odor. Using the whole afternoon, Chen Ge got all the information that Zhang Long knew. Chen Ge, I've told you everything I know. I have not hidden anything. Please, give me a quick death. Zhang Long, whose body was almost transparent, collapsed to the ground. He did not even have the energy to lift his head. The shadow used you. After he used you, you could have had other choices, but you chose to become the second shadow. The remaining light of dusk fell on Chen Ge. He turned the comic to the last few pages. Karma. You were the one who planted the seed, so now you have to eat the bitter fruit. His fingers caressed the pages, and all the objects in the room started to shake. The color of blood was like a tsunami, and many blood vessels instantly filled the staff breakroom. Among the blooming flowers of blood, a girl appeared next to Chen Ge. She was not that old, and she looked thin and weak. She gave off the feeling that she was a doll that could be manipulated at will. Xiao Bu, I've helped you capture the person who made your mother into a doll. When he first played the Xiao Bu game, there was a scene that had a huge impact on Chen Ge. He had controlled Xiao Bu to return to his home, and when he entered the door, he found his adoptive father who had been made into a doll. At the time, he had only thought it was strange and did not think too much about it. In reality, that was probably Xiao Bu's subconscious revenge. After all, it was her mother who had been made into a doll in real life. Xiao Bu, who had a good personality, grabbed Zhang Long's head. The blood vessels wrapped around Zhang Long, and throughout the process, the screams did not stop. Half an hour later, Xiao Bu put away the doll that was made from blood vessels. She stood in the middle of the room, thinking about something. Standing up, Chen Ge walked to Xiao Bu's side and lightly shielded Xiao Bu. The sun set, and Xiao Bu returned to the comic. Chen Ge looked at the breakroom that looked like it had been hit by a typhoon. I almost forgot. This child is as powerful as a top red specter behind his own door. He is the door pusher for a 3.5-star scenario. After cleaning up the breakroom, it was time to get off work. Chen Ge called the other living employees, and they had a simple welcome party for Wu Jinpeng. Seeing how nice his colleagues were, like they were a family, Wu Jinpeng was very happy. After everyone left the haunted house, Chen Ge took out a document that was filled with words. This was the result of his interrogation with Zhang Long. Zhang Long and Zhen Zhen had confirmed the two children chosen by the ghost fetus. One of them was born with a sense of smell, and he had already been murdered, the other appeared to have a heart problem. After confirming the child's address, before they could do anything, they were discovered by the police. Now, I have 5 nights left. That should be enough. Tonight, I'll go behind the door corresponding to Fang Yu. After I come out, I'll head to Coffin Village. Reincarnation is what the woman from the well has been doing. Perhaps I'll be able to get some important information from her. The woman from the well had been around for a long time, and she had entered the blood fog many times. Chen Ge had a feeling that she knew many things, and he should have a good chat with her. Carrying the backpack, Chen Ge went to the underground scenario to put Zhang Yi and the red high heels into the backpack, and then he ran out of the haunted house. He first found the home of the child with the heart problem, but there was no one there. He waited at the door for a long time, but the child's parents did not show up. Instead, he saw a familiar face at the corner of the street. The corner of his lips was cracked, and there was a perpetual smile on his face. The non-smiler, with the hat also appeared around the child's home, but when he saw Chen Ge, he left decisively. The two did not get into a fight. The non-smilers have their eyes on these children chosen by the ghost fetus. I need to speed up. Temporarily, Chen Ge did not want to get into a conflict with the cursed hospital. The thing that he hoped to happen the most was for the ghost fetus and the cursed hospital to fight each other to the death while he reaped the benefits from the side, but the chance of that happening was too small. Glancing at the time on his phone, Chen Ge did not stay for long at the child's house. He hailed a cab and went to the park that Fang Yu often visited. The road was blocked, and the park was blocked off by a blue steel board. About 10 meters away, Chen Ge saw Fang Yu standing alone outside the park. So, she's here again. After paying the fare, Chen Ge walked to Fang Yu's side. What are you doing? Fang Yu turned around. There was a trace of surprise in her eyes that looked at Chen Ge like she still remembered this face. I'm sorry, do you know? I know Fang Yu. I am his best friend. Today, I'm bringing you to meet him. Chen Ge answered so quickly that it scared Fang Yu. Even though the girl did not have a good memory, she was not stupid. She suspected that Chen Ge was a bad person. Looks like you've forgotten about me again. After explaining for a long time, Fang Yu still did not believe Chen Ge. She gripped her fists and turned to run back to her home. Chen Ge was quite helpless, so he chased after her. Actually, he understood Fang Yu. For someone with amnesia, this world was strange, and it was filled with anxiety. Returning to Fang Yu's residential area, the big sister who had met Chen Ge earlier walked over. She looked at Chen Ge, who was following closely behind Fang Yu, and walked over with a friendly smile. You're here to find Fang Yu again. The way the big sister looked at Chen Ge was strange. It felt like she was looking for a boyfriend for her daughter. She had her own standards. Sis, I might need to disturb you tonight. Chen Ge carried his backpack and walked to Fang Yu. Through my investigation, I found a way to awaken Fang Yu's memory. I wish to try it tonight. What is it? I can't tell you, but I can guarantee it will work. That's not a problem. Go upstairs, don't stand outside. The big sister invited Chen Ge and Fang Yu to her home. Once they entered the door, Fang Yu hid in her room. This child, I am afraid that one day, she will forget about me. I won't. Actually, Chen Ge was curious about Fang Yu's illness. He especially wanted to know what the world behind Fang Yu's door was like. Sis, actually, I am a psychiatrist. I will need your cooperation for today's treatment. Just tell me what you need me to do. Give me the key to Fang Yu's bedroom. The treatment starts at midnight. Big sister hesitated for a while before agreeing. At midnight, all the lights in the house went out. Chen Ge sneaked into Fang Yu's bedroom. He saw a blood door standing next to Fang Yu's bed. Compared to the door next to Wu Sheng's bed, the door next to Fang Yu's bed was covered in blood. It looked no different from a real blood door. Fang Yu was a light sleeper. After Chen Ge locked the bedroom door, he did not stop but walked to the blood door. Just as he was about to grab the doorknob, something unexpected happened. The backpack started to leak blood, and the sound of pages flipping came from inside. To not wake Fang Yu, Chen Ge did not hesitate and pushed the door open. Opening his eyes, Chen Ge suddenly felt a sharp pain in his brain. It was like the memory in his brain was being torn apart, and a hand was messing with his brain. Holding his head, Chen Ge slowly squatted down. He rested for a few minutes before he stood up again. This is the front door of Zhujiang's children's home. The world behind Fang Yu's door was different from all the other doors that Chen Ge had visited before. It was gray and white, and there was no blood or darkness. It was like a place that was completely still. Standing where he was, the first thing Chen Ge did was open his backpack. He realized that Zhang Ya's bedtime story was placed on top of everything else. I remember very clearly that I placed it in the middle of the room. Chen Ge flipped through the storybook, and something even more surprising happened. The blood on the page disappeared, and all the words disappeared. Why would something like this happen? Chen Ge looked at the other items. There was nothing wrong with them. Only Zhang Ya's storybook had a problem. Is it because she is a demon god? Has she caused the ghost fetus to feel anxious? Quote. Shaking his head, Chen Ge had no idea. He tried to communicate with Xu Yin and the other specters, but it took him a long time before he got a reply. This world behind the door had basically stabilized. Xu Yin and the rest were greatly restricted, so it would not be easy for them to appear. This is only the third door that I've entered, and the situation is already this bad. Then how scary will the door that really houses the ghost fetus be? Quote. Walking in the gray world, Chen Ge slowly realized the difference in this world. The other worlds behind the door carried the lingering spirit that the door pusher could not resolve, but this world was different. All the buildings and objects were fading like a painting that was being erased. Everything was becoming strange and blurry. The people that passed by were moving in a hurry. They had no facial features, and they wore the same clothes. Memory is the core of a person's existence. Without memory, will this world become like this? Pale, blurry, and slowly numb in the process of disappearing and disappearing. Quote, "There was another strange thing about this world behind the door. At the end of the street, at the entrance of the grocery store, on the wall, on the puddle on the ground, there was a mirror placed everywhere." Chen Ge knew that the mirrors behind the door usually carried a special meaning. He had stood before the mirror to examine himself, and the conclusion he came to was that the colors on his body were slowly fading, and his reflection in the mirror was assimilating into this world. "These colors might be my memory. When I turn gray, perhaps I will forget myself. Looks like I cannot stay here for too long." Temporarily, Shu Yin and the rest could not appear, but Chen Ge knew what Fang Yu had been through. He knew the few places that Fang Yu would most likely appear at. The ghosts and monsters behind the door are the reflections of people and events in real life. Fang Yu's memory is very bad. None of the people here have facial features. She has even forgotten herself, so she won't remember those horrible things. Without memory, she would not be happy, and of course, she would not be sad. It was like she had never had hope, so she did not know despair. In a way, this was a blessing in disguise. Chen Ge's journey was smooth. No one was interested in him, and no one tried to stop him. For this world, he was just a passerby. Perhaps he would be forgotten the next moment. Similarly, as time passed, perhaps after one step, Chen Ge would forget what he was doing, where he wanted to go, and who he really was. He was thankful that he had found out about Fang Yu's past before he came here. Without wasting any time, he started to search for the place that Fang Yu was most likely to be, the small house inside the forest near the dam. The fading world appeared to be blown away by a gust of wind. Chen Ge looked at his hands that had turned gray. He realized that this world was more troublesome than he had expected. "My mind is slowing down. I can't let this drag on any longer." Fang Yu's world was much bigger than Wu Sheng's. Other than the orphanage, most of the buildings looked the same, so it was easy to get lost. Chen Ge searched for a long time before he found the way out. It was a small path hidden in the gray forest. There was no scent of flowers, no chirping of birds, and he was surrounded by gray trees and white trunks. His hands and feet had turned gray. Chen Ge felt like he was moving slower and slower, but that was not really the case. He had no idea why this was happening. "No matter what, I have to find Fang Yu." The trees were thick, and the path was winding. There was no end in sight. Chen Ge could only keep moving forward. He was taking a gamble. If he stayed in Fang Yu's world, his memory would slowly disappear, so he could not use the same method as he did in Wu Sheng's world. He could not stay at one spot and wait for Shu Yin's group to appear before he made his move. Here, every second was precious, just like Fang Yu's own life. From the moment she opened her eyes in the morning, when her memory was written, the countdown had already started. She had to find the people in her memory before midnight because she knew that when she woke up the next day, everything would be blank again. After who knew how long, just as Chen Ge was getting numb, the world before him suddenly opened up. At the end of the path was a wooden house. It was surrounded by flowers, and there were some toys scattered on the ground. Pushing open the door, Chen Ge's hands that gripped the backpack tightened. He saw a girl sitting in the middle of the wooden house. She was wearing a pure white dress and had dark gray hair. She was hugging a small fish tank, and inside the tank, a blood-red goldfish was swimming. It moved its body up and down, but the space inside the fish tank was limited. The world that it could touch was only so big. Fang Yu. Hearing the sound, the girl in the white dress turned to look at Chen Ge. She had the same face as Fang Yu, but there was no life in her eyes. She was like a puppet. "I finally found you. Let's go home." The woman's body moved slightly, and her mouth opened slightly. No sound came out, but it seemed like she was repeating the word, home. Chen Ge looked at the girl in the pure white coat, and his eyes slowly fell on the fish tank. The only color in this world was the blood-red goldfish. After entering the house, Chen Ge helped the girl up. She was at his mercy, as if she was just an empty shell without any self-awareness. "There are still many people at home who miss you. They are always thinking about you." The girl hugged the fish tank, and her arm was grabbed by Chen Ge. They slowly walked out of the wooden house. The moment he stepped out of the wooden house, the goldfish in the fish tank wriggled in the water as if it was about to jump out of the fish tank. "Why do you keep hugging the fish tank? Is that goldfish very important to you?" Quote. It was a simple word, but it was the first voice that Chen Ge heard in the world behind Fang Yu's door. Realizing that he could communicate with the girl, a smile appeared on Chen Ge's face. You must be lonely here alone, right? Do you remember that there was once a boy who kept you company and kept talking beside you? Quote. The girl shook her head. Her eyes looked at the goldfish in the fish tank, and it was hard to tell what she was thinking. He helped you when you were in danger. For you, he gave up his life. Chen Ge held the girl, and he also stared at the goldfish in the fish tank. Do you know what the end of life means? There was no answer, and the girl remained silent. The opposite of life is death. After a person dies, they will no longer be able to hear their voice, see their face, or touch their palm. Chen Ge was not chatting with the girl, he was just testing her. Fang Yu's memory only lasted for 1 day, but that did not mean that she had forgotten everything. There was one person that she had not forgotten, and that was Zhang Yi. Chen Ge knew what Zhang Yi represented to Fang Yu. Before entering the world behind Fang Yu's door, he had guessed that the only light behind Fang Yu's door was Zhang Yi. However, after meeting Fang Yu in person, Chen Ge realized that things were not that simple. The only color in this gray world was a goldfish, a blood-red goldfish. In this world, other than me, has anyone spoken to you? Chen Ge carried his backpack and walked beside the girl. They walked side by side, but neither of them looked at the other. Instead, they were looking somewhere else. No, the girl replied after a long time. After a long time, the girl replied with 2 words. Her face was expressionless, and there was no hope or despair in her gray eyes. There was only dead silence. Then, am I your only friend? Chen Ge spoke very slowly like he needed to think for a long time before he said a word. Friend. The girl stopped walking. Her gray eyes looked at Chen Ge, and Chen Ge's face was reflected in her eyes. For some reason, the world in her eyes seemed to have become more desolate. You are not. Fine, looks like I've mistaken you for someone else. Chen Ge placed his hand lightly on the girl's shoulder. I used to have a friend who was very similar to you. He was very lonely, and he was always alone. I have forgotten how we met, but I do know that we used to be inseparable. Quote. A crack appeared on the transparent fish tank, but the girl acted like nothing had happened. She hugged the fish tank and slowly walked forward. How did a friend who used to be inseparable suddenly turn into a stranger? Chen Ge looked at the rugged path and called Shu Yin's name in his heart. His employees were forcibly breaking through their restraints, and several red specters were preparing to work together to destroy this world behind the door. I have forgotten many things. I have forgotten all the pain, forgotten despair, and forgotten the many things that happened with that friend. When I came to, that friend of mine had already left. Quote. What was the name of that friend of yours? The girl's voice was soft, and she kept her head lowered. I cannot remember. Perhaps his name is Chen Ge. Chen Ge stopped moving. He wanted to have the same name as me. The girl did not stop and continued to walk forward. The cracks on the fish tank increased. The goldfish wriggled anxiously, and the clear water turned murky. I also know a person with that name. The girl's voice was slightly different from before. He has no friends. No one is willing to be his friend, including me. Is the child that annoying? No, it's the opposite. He is a very good child. The girl kept her head lowered. The voice did not seem to come from her mouth but from somewhere else in the world behind the door. Why would a good child have no friends? Chen Ge spoke slower and slower. Half of his body had turned gray. Because he has a secret on him. The girl slowly raised her lowered head, and her face started to blur. That is a child who cannot be killed no matter what. No matter what method you use to kill him, he will return. Would you be willing to be friends with such a child? A child that cannot be killed no matter what. Chen Ge lifted his head. His eyes looked through the gray canopy at the pale sky. Even if he was willing to be friends with the child would not have any friends because he might be that child. I don't believe there is such a child in this world. If he really exists, I will be friends with him. Chen Ge answered with certainty. Then he turned to the girl. By the way, how do you know he cannot be killed no matter what? When Chen Ge asked that question, a long gap appeared on the transparent fish tank, and the water inside the tank started to leak out through the gap. It was worth noting that the transparent water inside the tank turned a murky gray after it leaked out from the gap. The water decreased, and the blood-red goldfish struggled harder. Wounds started to appear on its body, and the water inside the tank was slowly dyed red. I have killed him before. The girl's voice had completely changed. I wanted to become him, but when I woke up from my dream, he had returned. Then, do you know how he did it? Chen Ge's heart was beating fast, but his consciousness was fading like he was forgetting something very important, and the most dangerous thing was, he did not even know what he was forgetting. Yes, the girl turned her head around to look at Chen Ge. At that moment, her facial features were completely blurred, and a new face was slowly forming. How did he do it? The cold light fell on them. The two stood on the left and right of the exit of the forest. They could see the buildings in the distance were bleeding. The left side of the building corresponding to the girl was crawling with black threads that gave off an ominous feeling. The right side of the building corresponding to Chen Ge was almost dyed red with blood, and cracks were everywhere. The world behind Fang Yu's door was almost the same as the real world behind the door, but it still could not withstand the torment of almost 10 red specters. After entering the door, when Chen Ge realized that this world was different from the other worlds behind the door, he immediately ordered all of his employees to make their move. He already knew about Fang Yu's past, so there was no need for him to slowly explore it. Reality proved that he had made the right bet. You are the possession that the ghost fetus left behind this door, right? As soon as Chen Ge saw Fang Yu, he began to have doubts. If the Fang Yu in the world behind the door had really stopped resisting, like this girl had, then the Fang Yu outside the door would not have tattooed her name all over her body, and she would not have waited in that park every day. The real Fang Yu did not give up. To further verify his speculation, he first used Zhang Yi to test the water. The girl did not have any reaction, but the blood-red goldfish in the fish tank kept swimming. After that, Chen Ge kept asking questions based on his own guesses. In the end, he confirmed that the girl in front of him was not Fang Yu. In Fang Yu's world of amnesia, other than herself, the only other person who could speak and had memories could only be the ghost fetus. The girl probably already knew that she had been seen through, but she didn't care. How are you so sure that I am not the ghost fetus? Even though this world behind the door is more stable than the previous few worlds, it is still too fragile for a demon god. It is like how you cannot place a whale in a household aquarium. Before entering Fang Yu's world, Chen Ge did not think that the ghost fetus would be hiding here. The words that Zhang Yi had once told him had helped him a lot. Other than that, if he was the ghost fetus, he would definitely hide himself in a normal person's body. The other 8 people were just a cover. Even if the world behind the door was destroyed, they would only lose part of their power. As long as they could drag it out until the real person was born, the situation would be reversed. The girl's original facial features were wiped away, and a baby's face slowly appeared. His eyes were closed, and blood leaked out from the corner of his lips, ears, and nose, but he did not cry or scream like he could not feel the pain. This ghost fetus was different from the other ghost fetus behind the door. He had his own consciousness. After his real body was discovered, he did not do anything too extreme. Even his shirt did not turn red. Just like that, she and Chen Ge stood at the exit of the forest and looked at the city that was covered in black and red quietly. Gradually, the blood-red color gained the upper hand, and the black threads that represented the curse were suppressed. Bloody wounds appeared on the grayish-white city, and it was as if the entire city was bleeding. Almost 10 red specters used their full power to suppress the curse that was hidden behind the door, but looking at everything before him, there was no smile on Chen Ge's face. Including the door that Jia Ming and Bai Yi had entered, this was only the 4th door, and it already required almost 10 red specters to suppress it at the same time. If they entered the 5th door, they would need the full power of all the red specters to break through. Based on this prediction, even if they brought all the red specters to the 6th door, they might not be safe. The grayish-white city was covered in blood. Chen Ge did not use any strategy. He used pure violence and used almost 10 red specters to crush the city. This was the simplest, most effective, and safest method. Blood-red shadows appeared one after another. The many mirrors on the street were shattered, and the gray city was dyed red. Just a little bit more. If I could buy a little more time, I would have been able to keep you here forever. The girl with the baby face turned to look at Chen Ge. I can't kill you, but I can make you forget yourself and do what they did to you again. Both sides were buying time. Chen Ge was waiting for his red specters to break through the restraints placed on them by the world behind the door, and the girl knew something very secretive and wanted to use a different method to kill Chen Ge. What they did to me? Who are they? Chen Ge asked. Why do you have to find them? You already have something that I can't ask for, so why do you have to give it up? The girl's body started to blur like she was losing her color and was about to merge with the world. Why don't you just stay where you are and let me become you? The people that I'm looking for. Are they my parents? Chen Ge's tone turned urgent. Hearing the word, parents, the baby's expression changed. Chen Ge seemed to have touched on the most painful part of the baby. He did not answer Chen Ge's question and reached out to grab the goldfish in the tank. You are very lucky. Before I fully woke up, you entered the most dangerous door. But those are the facts that have already been decided, and you will never be able to change them. Quote. Fang Yu. Chen Ge took out the hammer and swung it at the girl. The girl's hand touched the water, but the goldfish evaded her fingers. The transparent glass fish tank fell to the ground, and the baby's face was twisted. Her body scattered with the splashing water in the fish tank. I will wait for you behind the door, Chen Ge. The girl's body, the water, and the gray world merged and disappeared. Only a blood-red goldfish and a normal glass marble were left on the ground. Chen Ge placed the goldfish on one of the larger pieces of the tank. There was still some murky water there. Then, he reached out his hand to the very ordinary marble. The moment his fingertips touched the marble, a strange memory appeared in his mind. On the third floor of the haunted house at midnight, there was a single bed inside the warm room, and there was a handmade orange lantern on the bedside table. The dim light fell on the bed. The young child was asleep, but his shadow tiptoed down the bed to take out the toys that were placed around the room. The thin shadow sat among the toys. He played with them for a long time until midnight arrived, and he suddenly heard someone calling a name. The shadow turned back to look at the sleeping child on the bed before slipping out of the room. The shadow walked out from the room on the third floor. He saw a marble roll down the stairs. He followed the marble and came to the first floor. There was no one around, and the lonely shadow continued to move forward. He saw the marble roll into the bathroom and stop before the cubicle door. The midnight bell had stopped ringing. The shadow walked to the cubicle. He bent down to pick up the marble, but he accidentally realized that the cubicle door was not closed tight. He leaned against the door and looked in, and his eyes were red. Holding the marble with both hands, the shadow walked through the door. He walked in the blood. Perhaps because he had lost some memory, the buildings on both sides were blurry. He could only tell that this was a blood-red city. The shadow could not find the way back. He held the marble and walked aimlessly until a hand fell on his shoulder. It was a child's hand, and the fingers were covered in black and red blood. The shadow was given a fright. He slowly turned his head around, but the picture in his mind disappeared at that moment. The door inside the haunted house is connected to the Red City. The door can lead to the center of the Red City. Chen Ge's mind was filled with questions. He was now certain that the shadow had entered the world behind the door, and the shadow's darkening had happened after he entered the door. From this memory, at least before entering the world behind the door, the shadow was normal. Even though he would go out to play at night, overall, it was still acceptable. The shadow ran into a child with bloody hands behind the door. That child was the key to the shadow's change. To be able to turn a normal shadow into a demon god, Chen Ge was shocked just thinking about it. Thankfully, I didn't enter the door when I first realized there was something wrong with it, or else I wouldn't even know how I died. Fang Yu's world behind the door was about to collapse. Chen Ge called his employees back and picked up the biggest broken piece of the fish tank. Fang Yu. Chen Ge looked at the blood-red goldfish with a strange expression. This was the first time he had encountered something like this. The world behind the door was made from the door pusher's memory. If the door pusher had lost all her memory and even forgotten herself, what kind of form would she appear in behind the door? Hearing Chen Ge's voice, the goldfish swayed its tail anxiously. Its body was covered in wounds. I'll take you out first. If you really are Fang Yu, then perhaps it can prove something else. The world behind the door does not only have ghosts in human form but also other things, even though they were once human. With the help of the red specter, Chen Ge held the broken pieces of the fish tank and pushed open the black iron door. Ah! He heard a scream, and as soon as Chen Ge opened his eyes, he saw something flying towards him. He quickly dodged to the side. The table lamp smashed into the wall, shattering the glass cover. If it had hit his head, it would definitely have a big hole. Calm down. Chen Ge turned on the light and then opened the bedroom door. The kind-hearted lady seemed to have been eavesdropping on the door. When the door suddenly opened, she fell into the room. Calm down, both of you. The treatment was over. The effect was very good. Chen Ge looked at the two confused faces in the room. He walked to Fang Yu's bedside. Did you dream that you turned into a blood-red goldfish and saw a gray city? Did you dream about me? Fang Yu, who had finally calmed down, studied Chen Ge. She nodded blankly. You appeared in my nightmare. That was hypnosis. Chen Ge said seriously. I thought about it and finally decided to use hypnosis on you. Will it work? You can try. Chen Ge turned to Fang Yu. Do you still remember the name Zhang Yi? Fang Yu's expression froze. She pressed on her head and kept screaming like her mind had been greatly stimulated. Chen Ge did not expect things to turn out this way. He and the lady worked together to restrain Fang Yu. After half an hour, the extremely exhausted Fang Yu finally collapsed into bed and fell asleep. She used to have amnesia, but how come it feels like she has gone crazy now? The lady was worried. She has already remembered some things, but it will be a gradual process. She needs to slowly accept her past. Chen Ge glanced at the clock on the wall. It was 3:30 a.m. He had spent more time behind Fang Yu's door than he expected. He would not be able to return to Coffin Village that night. Entering the world behind the door will cause one to lose the sense of time. I wonder if that is a good thing or a bad thing. After leaving the lady's home, Chen Ge quickly took out the black phone. There was an unread message on it. The 4-star trial mission, Ghost Fetus, has been completed for 9th. The ghost fetus has lost the most important part of its memory. Lucky red specters favored, you do not have much time left. Is that part of the memory that important to the ghost fetus? Can I use this to create some trouble for it? Like tricking it to enter the world behind the door again. Quote. After reading the message, Chen Ge returned to the haunted house for a good night's sleep. A new day started. After Chen Ge helped his employees with their makeup, he carried his backpack and went to find the child with the heart problem. But the child was still not home, and the weirdest thing was that the child's neighbors had all moved away. The whole apartment building was empty. With no other choice, Chen Ge hailed a cab to rush to Eastern Zhejiang's Yi Hospital. This was the clue that he had gotten from the old city. The person who appeared to be the mother of the ghost fetus worked there. At 9:30 a.m., Chen Ge had already gone to 3 places. He had gone from Western Zhejiang to Eastern Zhejiang. Is Nurse Yu around? Chen Ge stood at the clinic. This was a private hospital, so there were not many patients. Go to the machine to swipe your ID first. I'm not here to see a patient. Nurse Yu's child has some problems, and I wish to talk to her. Sister Yu's child. The nurse on duty looked at Chen Ge with suspicion. Then she made a call, and a female nurse in her 40s walked over. You're Miss Yu Jia, right? Chen Ge welcomed her warmly. He used his yin-yang vision and did not notice anything special about Yu Jia. I'm sorry, but did my son get into trouble again? Nurse Yu did not even ask why Chen Ge was there. The first thing she did was apologize like her son was a troublemaker. Let's talk somewhere else. This is not the place. Chen Ge led Nurse Yu out of the private hospital. He did not beat around the bush and asked directly, did your son run away from home several years ago? At the time, he lived on the 2nd floor of an apartment building in the old city. Quote. How did you know that? At the time, he was still in school. Nurse Yu did not understand why Chen Ge was there. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Chen Ge. I often help the police solve cases. This is the news about me online. Chen Ge took out his phone to search for news about himself and showed it to Nurse Yu. Help the police. Nurse Yu's expression changed. Then why are you looking for my son? Calm down first. What I'm going to say next is very important. Chen Ge said after a while, your son might be related to a murder case. The killer is not him, but I need you to cooperate with my investigation. Impossible. How could my son be related to a murder case? There must be a mistake. Nurse Yu was probably too agitated and shouted out loud. You can choose not to believe me, or you can call the police, but I'm telling you, the only one who can help him now is me. Chen Ge's expression was serious. Normally, when the child's parents heard that their child might be involved in a murder case, they would say that it was impossible, but Nurse Yu's face was filled with worry and fear. In other words, in Nurse Yu's heart, her child might really have done something like that. The first few children chosen by the ghost fetus were harmless. In fact, they leaned toward kindness. They actively resisted the ghost fetus and held on to the light in their heart. But not everyone in this world liked the light. Some people did not need the ghost fetus guidance, and they would fall into the abyss themselves. If the ghost fetus possessed such people, it would be very difficult to deal with. In his previous world, Chen Ge had help, but entering this world behind the door, he would be targeted by everything, and he would not receive any extra help. Think about it. I'll wait for you outside the hospital. Chen Ge looked into Nurse Yu's eyes. Don't think about running away. Being approached by me and being approached by the police are two different concepts. I still don't think my son would be involved in a murder case. There has to be some misunderstanding. Nurse Yu slowly calmed down. Don't worry, I don't think he's the killer either. I just want to ask him something important. Chen Ge signaled for Nurse Yu to relax. Bring me to see him as soon as possible. We really don't have much time left. Nurse Yu did not believe Chen Ge, but looking at the news about Chen Ge on her phone, she believed that someone who had been featured in Zhujiang's legal daily should not be a liar. I'll go ask for leave now. Wait for a moment. Nurse Yu ran into the hospital. 10 minutes later, she changed and walked out from the side door. I'll bring you to see him, and you can talk in person. If you've seen him now, you should know why I said he wouldn't be involved in a murder case. Quote. The two hailed a taxi and came to a residential area in eastern Zhujiang. The place looked nice, but it was rather deserted. There was no one in the residential area, and there were only a few cars parked downstairs. There are many residential areas like this in eastern Zhujiang. There used to be buildings everywhere, but the occupancy rate was not high. Nurse Yu was not in the mood to chat. Her voice was weak, and her eyes were full of worry. I live on the 23rd floor. Please wait for a moment. The elevator here is a bit slow. After 10 minutes, Chen Ge finally arrived at Nurse Yu's house. When the door opened, he smelled a faint stench. That stench was not the smell of food going bad, nor was it the smell of fermenting garbage or rotting corpses. It was very special, like a foul odor that came from the depths of the soul. It's a bit messy at home. Sorry for the embarrassment. Nurse Yu entered the room first and took the dirty clothes from the sofa into the bathroom before letting Chen Ge in. Your house is quite big. It just looks big, and the structure doesn't make sense. Nurse Yu did not even bother to change her shoes as she walked toward the deepest room in the room. Yu Jian, are you in the house? Quote. While Nurse Yu was knocking on the door, Chen Ge looked around her home. Although the house was large, it was unusually quiet. There were only 2 pairs of slippers in the shoe cabinet, one for men and one for women. Only Nurse Yu and her son live in such a big house. Where's the father? Quote. Earlier, Nurse Yu called her son Yu Jian, and her son has the same surname as her. Does the boy not have a father? Nurse Yu knocked on the door for a long time, but her son still did not come out. He did not even answer. Is he not home? Chen Ge also walked deeper into the room. He saw a tray with bread and a glass of fresh milk placed at the door of the room. He didn't even have breakfast this morning. This boy, Mrs. Yu picked up the tray from the ground and returned to the living room. Ever since he dropped out of high school, he has been like this. I wonder how long he will shut himself away. Refusing to communicate and shutting himself away, this is not a good sign. When a person is alone for a long time, their imagination will start to wander, and it's very easy for them to do something extreme. Chen Ge sat across from Nurse Yu. I'm not trying to scare you. After seeing this situation at home, I feel like things are more serious than I thought. There's nothing I can do. I've taken him to a psychiatrist and given him medicine, but it didn't work. Nurse Yu's face was bitter. Can you tell me in detail how Yu Jian ended up like this? Chen Ge knew that only by understanding Yu Jian's story would he be able to gain the upper hand. There's no need to hide anything. In the name of the city's investigation unit, I can promise you that I will not reveal your family's information to anyone else. Yu Jian was like any other child when he was young. He was healthy, cute, and very smart. He learned everything quickly, but I don't know when it started, but I realized this child. Nurse Yu's expression was conflicted. How should I put this? He doesn't seem to know how to return other people's kindness. For example, if the neighbor's kid gave him a candy, he would toss it away. If the kids built a castle on the sand and invited him to play with them, he would immediately step on the castle and collapse it. Quote. It's not that he doesn't know how to return kindness, this is pure malice. That's not it. Nurse Yu shook her head. She seemed to hate it when people talked about her child that way. Yu Jian is a very gentle child. He just doesn't know how to express the love in his heart, or rather, the way he expresses his love is different from normal people. I've seen a psychiatrist before, and he said that Yu Jian does not seem to have the concept of love in his mind. His body is warm, and his heart is warm, but his consciousness is cold. Quote. The concept of love is missing. Chen Ge was reminded of the words that were carved on the walls of the old city. Love was also something that the ghost fetus needed. He believed that one of the most important reasons a human could become a human was because they understood and possessed love. The doctor said that Yu Jian suffers from a very rare illness called emotional expression disorder syndrome. Even though it manifests itself as a psychological problem, it is actually a biological disease. My son is not abnormal, but his brain is sick. Quote. I've never said that your son is abnormal. Other than that, I have to tell you one more thing. You will not find a better psychiatrist than me in Zhujiang. Chen Ge did not know much about psychology, but he could remember Dr. Gao's confidence when he was facing his patients. It was as if he was born with that confidence. You're a psychiatrist as well. Many adult psychological problems are related to their childhood experiences. In the process of understanding the world, they will run into a small accident. Chen Ge sat up straight and stared into Nurse Yu's eyes. I repeat, do not hide anything from me. Tell me everything that has happened to Yu Jian. Only then will I be able to help him. For more thrilling fanfiction stories like this, check out my channel Fanfic Audiobook. Dive into epic adventures, mysterious realms, and legendary journeys brought to life through immersive storytelling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing audiobooks.